right now. All right, y'all. It is 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, and we're the Reformers. We're on live. So much to get in tonight, and I know we're definitely going to be talking about Plattner, where that's headed, and how we can work with Maine, help Maine. But first, we're going to hit on Trump and all that too. But Lorenzo, and I'm butchering his name, Lorenzo Salgado Arahu, I believe, was shot and killed by ICE agents in Houston, Texas. And I don't know if you guys have seen the video. We're not showing that tonight, but his son did a really just heartfelt, speech about his father, and just saying that, no one should be killed and all of those things. Some news I heard is that, and I think this is really interesting, that the president of Mexico is actually going to be considering prosecuting. Do you all know about that? Because I think that's a new way, a new way to look at this. It's on humanitarian, So go ahead, Chris.
Not just for him, for all of the Mexican immigrants that have been killed.
Yeah, I think this is like really interesting to see how that plays out. I like that idea. Let me put that.
Yeah, and of course it would be Mexico to do it, right? Like put it in the hands of a woman, and they're the ones that are going to get shit done. So I like that as well. Like, and that there's like,
show the way.
There's tension between the two of them as well, because Trump can't stand it when there's a woman in power, like to begin with. That already hurts his feelings. So this is just double time. But I think that what I want to say about this, and what I continue to reiterate about this, is that these kinds of atrocities by ICE are ongoing. They've never stopped. They're not in the headlines every single day because, one, people have fatigue. Two, we're not getting all the information because obviously this administration doesn't want to share any of it. And three, and more importantly, this administration keeps doing awful things that, we're juggling what to put where and what to put in front. But when something like this happens, it's a threat to all of us, right? Like if immigrants aren't safe, if documented or undocumented, it doesn't matter. If ICE is just shooting people in broad daylight, if that's their first inclination is to shoot before asking questions, then we're all in danger. And that goes back to, our rights and freedoms as citizens living here is to not be shot on our way home from work.
Yeah.
And if they're so trigger happy that, someone like this could be killed, it could be you or your neighbor or your friends, your loved ones, whatever. And so that just bears repeating that ICE is a threat to all of us, not just those that are undocumented or even documented immigrants.
And
and how they handle it, right? After the fact, they're lying about what happened. We've got video. There was a news reporter who spoke today saying that he, when the incident happened, they stripped him of his ID and labeled him as a Jane Doe. So the family is now struggling to get his body, right? So how freaking disgusting.
I'm sure that's not an accident, because they're going to probably try to have an independent autopsy conducted, and I'm sure that this administration is doing everything they can to prevent that. So
they don't want them to have the body. You know what I mean? This is not. And I think the other thing we have to mention, ICE has not been in the news as much lately. That is by design. Mark Wayne Mullen isn't, even though he's a total asshole, his marching orders were the fact that ICE was so negative. Like that was immigration was Trump's, achievement, or his, that's where he got the most support, and it just went south. The way they were getting us on social media, we were posting all of these horrific incidents. We have Minneapolis, all of that was changing. So I don't think their tactics have changed. They're just being a little slicker about it, so it doesn't make front news. And they certainly don't have Mark Wayne Mullen doing these Christie Noem press conferences. He's not as much of a GQ cover boy or whatever. But I do think that it's still happening, and I think we should talk about this more on a future segment, because we gotta pull this out of the darkness. It's problematic. The other thing we want to talk about is just really quickly is Nolan Wells. So he's from Mississippi. Well, Casey, you know about this more than me.
This I could talk about because I stayed up a whole night when I was sick doing research on this when he was missing. So right when he went missing, I found his mother's Facebook page and I fell down a long rabbit hole into the comment section, studying the island.
Can we just say his mother is on Threads? Like, so this is
She is on Threads.
Can you imagine? Like, people are saying things about her son, and she's seeing these things. So I think we should keep that in mind.
She is on Facebook. She is on Threads. They are active, and she is posting regularly because she wants to make sure that she shuts down any of the disinformation, the videos that are being posted that aren't from them. They've hired the attorney, Ben Crump, to handle their, So just to back up, the island is a barrier island that's not far from mainland, but people will take their boats and then they'll anchor their boats in the shallows and hang out there and party there. And it's a very popular island, but it's a very small island and there's nothing on it. So there's other islands that are nearby that are a little bit more, like that have other things on. This one's just, I don't even think it has a ranger station, and it used to. I don't even know if it has that anymore. But like, just think just nothing there. Well, just not. It's like less than a mile wide and like maybe 8 miles at most long. And so people go there to play on the shoreline and then leave. And the problem early on when he went missing, that his friends had left and gone back. Supposedly they had reported him not coming back to the boat and that they had to go, and they reported him missing early on. Like, they contacted the mom and they gave the mom his cell phone because he had left that on the boat. And initially, when we saw the pictures, I don't know if you have the picture of him with his friends, but it's like him. It's a black kid with 4 other white kids. And immediately we all went, that's not great, like, ever, but especially not in Mississippi. Like, that's the kid that didn't come back. And so that sort of just led me down this long chase of information. There was a girl that they thought was missing that he was with, but she said that he thought he was going to go back with his friends and had been cooperating with the mom. And eventually a park ranger found his body on, it's 2 days after he went missing. So he went missing on July 4th. I think it was the 6th in the morning. There had been like an extensive search, through the water, but they found him on the island, is what I had read initially. If anybody's
I remember we were talking about he was missing. He was missing,
right.
And then they found his body. And they're classifying it as a drowning, right?
That's the problem that I had, like, straight from the get-go, was the fact that it didn't make sense to me. There is marshy land. There's marsh on the land. Like, there's little like pockets of like swampy, marshy, like, water pockets, but they're farther in the island, right? Like, it's not, you'd have to go into the island. And what we were told was he didn't have his phone and he didn't have his shoes on. And that doesn't make sense. Like, he was drinking, but not to excess. And this is somebody who's been here before, right? Like, this is a culture. Like, if you've been in the South, anywhere, like basically Florida, all the way through, the Gulf, those areas, like, this is like just what they do on holidays, right? They get in a boat and they go over there and they party and then they go back. But you always make arrangements. And if you leave your phone on the boat, it's because you're playing in the water there, maybe, but like, you're not going to like deep into the brush where there's alligators and like, whatever, without your phone. Like, right. There's that didn't make any sense. And the idea that friends would just leave and assume that he would be fine didn't sit right with me from the beginning. And
I was just gonna say, someone made a point on Threads that imagine if it were one white kid with 4 black kids, the reaction that you would be getting right now, because it was very, very muted in the beginning.
It was, and people were, it's like, I posted about it. I didn't make a video because I was like, again, super sick, but like I was posting because I was like, this is just a problem. None of this makes sense to me. And it doesn't make sense in terms of like a culture of friends, like the way that you would behave for a friend. But but when they found him, it also didn't make sense to me that it was characterized as a drowning on land like that. Like now that's partially because they haven't released more information, but I think today they finally came out and said that they think that there was no foul play involved, that there's still an ongoing investigation. The family is now seeking to have an autopsy done, like a
Yeah.
private, like as they should. And
if
and
Crump
they
is
have
involved, they will, and he's very experienced with Mississippi crime
right,
and
and
racist
they're gonna
crime.
have to fight it because one of the parents of the children that's involved is a judge. She's a judge. And she's issued a statement with her name and her judgeship. Like she's like, it wasn't like, oh hi, I'm Sarah, like Wyatt's mom. It's like, hi, I'm Judge so and so, Wyatt's mom. Like everything was like, I'm a judge, know that I'm a judge. I recognize that I'm a judge, and I get that judges can be kind of like that, but also I didn't love that. And they've all turned off their social media. They've all gone private. And it's like initially the story that they gave was just there wasn't a lot there. Then the parents were so smart because the one thing they did, and by the way, if you're seeing this now and you have any footage, please contact them. They were smart to post early on if you have any footage from the island that day. Like if you know anybody that has footage from the island that day, please connect with us so
Regardless
that
if you
they
think it's suspicious, just share it.
100%, just give us the footage like of whatever
Yeah.
you have. He doesn't even need to be in it. Like just we're trying to piece the day together. And they did that very early on, and a lot of people were really helpful with that. So I think that they got a better picture because there was an altercation that happened on the island, and they were trying to determine if he was involved in that, and there was just a lot happening, but they were able to get the media themselves. And so again, I say if you know anybody that's from that area that has footage, to contact the family directly. They also have a GoFundMe. There's one GoFundMe. I've linked it in my posts, but it's also on her Facebook page. And it's the only authorized one. And it's like Aaliyah, like I'm trying to remember, like, or Alia, you'll see. Linked it. I'll link it again.
Okay.
But it's just the one GoFundMe. And that's helpful. That'll be helpful for them because I know like they're going to have to pay a lot of money to seek out justice for him.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because it's Mississippi and it seems like a really tight knit community, and it looks like they've already closed ranks and there's a
The
judge
police
involved.
they are racist there. Like the whole investigation thing. Like I just know that because I've done a lot of social media work with Mississippi at one point, and it
South.
really stressed me out because so I was just trying to expose Mississippi corruption, and I kid you not, every day there was a different story, and this went on for months. And I was just like,
This is why they always make my States Against Humanity finals, because there's always badness there. And when you couple that with like a smaller like community or whatever, with a bunch of like football or like athletes or whatever, there's a culture around it in the South. They really do just excuse pretty much anything, and like murder would be that. So I think I told you, I messaged you, I was like, I'm not going to believe anything short of like some sort of manslaughter, like like maybe there was an accident that happened, maybe it was an accident, but people left their friend on this island. These kids left their that. You're not going to sell me anything less.
Crump will, I think when they have some information, I'll feel a little clearer. Once they do an independent autopsy, which I'm sure they will do. We need, it's very, and I can see why they're not giving a lot of information right now because they don't have it. But they're also going to try and get some justice here. So
I'm glad they have him, and I hope that they find justice, and I hope that they can have that peace. I just, as an observer, I'm not satisfied with what I'm seeing now.
Yeah, very, very,
get more.
very true. So y'all, I want to say this happened last weekend. Yes, Sunday. We find out that Doge is officially closed, which I kind of thought they already were. But here's the thing. We got to make sure that this shit, when Congress flips, this has to be a priority investigation hearings, because this, like, so much went down. I know we know a lot about, like, they were putting out misinformation on the numbers, that they were, the whole thing was abuse, fraud, waste, fraud, and abuse. And they were putting out numbers that were inaccurate. We knew that. The Times did a lot of reporting on that. But then the big thing is they have our data. And what are they doing with that data? And where did it go? And I know we talked about it on our live before about those. They're basically hackers, like Elon Musk's team of they're hackers, and they were not analysts. They were not data analysts that were going there to do proper analysis on, like, where the money's going and all that. They were there to shut stuff down and to take our data. I will stand there. I will die on that hill. So I
19 to 25 years old.
Yeah.
And apparently it turns out that Doge cost more than it saved. I saw reporting, I don't recall exactly where. And all of the people that they forced out of government, well, they're now looking to rehire people because they don't have enough competent federal workers. Just a total farce.
Don't you find that with so many things with Trump right now? Like, it's only going to cost 1.2 million. It costs 16 million. Or the jet, which we'll get into, this freaking jet. We have no idea, really. It's classified, it turns out, how much they actually spent to. Anyway, we'll get to that. All right, so everybody, Doge is closed, but they still have your data. There are no answers. And they fired a bunch of people, like Adam was saying. Cost a lot of people their jobs, a lot of heartache, and now they're trying to rehire them. But I bet you they are not rehiring very many Black women. I think the DEI is still enforced there.
People are still dying from lack of funding to USAID.
Yes. Yeah. And it's not just people, it is millions. It is, the numbers are astronomical.
And all of the suits, all of the investigations into Elon Musk are now gone, right?
Right.
There was like 5, I think, total, or 6 maybe.
Not in Europe. He's still got huge problems in Europe.
Fingers crossed.
Good.
So let's touch on a certain someone here.
Do you think he'd be willing to call into the show? Could we get him on the phone now?
I wasn't really expecting him to call this morning, to be honest. So when the phone rang and I was able to talk to him, I was frankly pretty grateful. I mean, as I said, I've known him since I was a teenager.
This is extremely, like, does anybody believe him, first of all?
No.
Worst liar.
And then he wasn't the only one that said they all had like 20-minute calls with this man. Like, he wasn't the only one.
I feel like it was a goodbye. They were goodbye calls.
I think they're lying. Like, the Republicans, they're very good at sticking on message, but sometimes they're too good at sticking on message. Like, they all had a 20-minute
Scott Jennings
call.
lies, so I agree with you. He lies all the time.
Yeah,
but I think
he does. But I think they're
out.
all, like, I think at best he's on life support, hospice care.
I think you can speak to somebody who is, incapacitated.
Brain dead.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean they're speaking back. So
I don't think they want him.
I feel like there's like a little.
Out.
Yeah, I feel like there might be a little truth, but it's not the whole truth.
I don't think it's a case where he's sitting in bed. I think it's a case where he's laying in bed and he's got all kinds of crap going in and out of it.
I think it's good. I think we should remember too, the 911 call. He was described as unconscious. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean he was lifeless, but at someone at his age, we pointed out last week that the survival rate is very low. So
he was not getting the oxygen to his brain to make it work.
But anyway, I just feel like
we saw a video yesterday that said that years ago he'd come into, I can't confirm this at all, but I 100% believe it based on the video footage we've seen, that he had come into a server's restaurant several years ago, and that he was not cognizant then, and he was falling asleep at the table. And like he was in a meeting with like some people from Pfizer, or I don't know, but the point is that they had rented like a room and gone, and had like a dinner situation there at a DC restaurant. And so I can't confirm that, but if you go back and look, he was starting to do the thing where he phased out on camera and like would just stop speaking, and like people were suggesting maybe he was having strokes or some kind of seizure activity. There was already problems, so the idea that
he's
somehow
prone to fall, like that's been
right,
happening.
he's had so many injuries and so many problems. I mean, at this point, like I was like, are we sure he's alive? Like, was he alive when this happened? Like, how? I mean, this man keeps the lives of Mitch McConnell should be studied, because, like, God, if it was any one of us, our insurance would have cut the cord a long time ago. So anyway, I don't think he was surviving that kind of CPR, and I'm surprised, although he is a GW, but I would be surprised. I don't know how they got him on life support. I thought he was in a cooler somewhere, to be honest.
If you don't have a DNR, they have no choice but to put you on life support.
Right. Which I'm sure he wouldn't have a DNR.
He wouldn't have a DNR.
What's up with his wife going to China? Like 3 days after, like, what's the story there?
He was dead and she's like, bye, like, I gotta go. Like,
you don't, she's the person who,
well, when people die, you make a
we're going to pull the plug or not.
We all grieve differently, Chris.
I mean, nobody wishes death on anybody, but
I mean, I do. I do. I mean, he's killing people, so I do. That's the thing. I'm gonna stop minimizing this. But these Republicans are killing people. Like, actively, people are dying. Like, that's not good. So
just look at what he did with the Supreme Court alone. You know what I mean? Like, this is like 2 seats were stolen. He was at the helm of that, and lives are changed, wrecked, and people have died. So
I'd rather you retire, but since they won't, go ahead and just die. Like, that's fine.
I mean,
how many women passed away just because of Dobbs?
Yeah, just because of that. Like, not even looking at we just talked about somebody murdered at the beginning of this, Lorenzo, like, by ICE. That's just one person. There's been thousands more. So that's bad. I don't wish good things for people like that.
Yeah, no.
I guess.
So
we'll deal with karma later.
So, okay. So the last live was right before 4th of July, it's headed into 4th of July weekend. And one of the big things on 4th of July was the Patriot Front marching through DC. They were on the train. So this is the photo that everyone has seen. People are saying it's going to be a Pulitzer Prize winning photo, which it should be. Let me show. This is another photo of a woman sitting in the train station with Patriot Front surrounding her. There is, and then, I tend to make fun of them when I see them, like the posts I've done, because they're just so, these are like khakis and they have polos on or whatever. They were using U-Haul vans and rolling into, like, I think the first time I saw them, they went into, I want to say it was Pittsburgh. It was somewhere in Pennsylvania, and they were shouted down, like they were chased out of the city. And this is how they should be treated. And so, like, I tend to make fun of them, but there is there is a violent past here. Well, watch this little clip.
Shields touched my skin, though. That initial touch triggered, just in a blink of an eye, all of this ancestral information that's held within my body. And I immediately knew I wasn't safe. I think the uniform is so plain or so casual that it doesn't stand out. It's not like white men wearing robes and hoods.
So that was in 2022.
Yeah, a lot of the discourse.
We can pause it there.
They are the Klan in a different font.
100%.
I mean, it's that picture. There were several pictures. And when we saw them pop up, it was like, I don't want to get in my white woman tears, but I was emotional because I was like, I wish I had been there. because I wanted to counter them, because I'm like, there's way more of us than there are them, but they're such cowards, and they pick like times like this to show up and be an inconvenience and be in spaces like people were pointing out, oh, now they like socialism, they're going to take advantage of the metro, like they're going to get on the subsidized transit system and be there, like where people have to go to work, like they're using this to get to work. And then here are these guys like assholes. Like the only benefit of this, and you pointed this out and many people did too, was that they had to walk around with butt stains because I don't know what they were doing, but they
At first
had
I thought
sweat.
somebody wet their pants, and then I'm thinking maybe they sat in puddles. I don't know, or was it
They
that
all
sweaty?
had
Like,
it, and you could just see them walking around. I was like, the only positive part about this is they look like complete dicks. And anyway, so I I'd forgotten that they still exist because they just keep coming out like, and I'm like, you got to recognize these people, right? Like I implore you, if you could take a peek, right? You can still see the socks and stuff. And if this is like your friend or your neighbor, like you need to have like a real long sit down with them. Like, I mean, I don't necessarily want to encourage violence, but if you need to smack them around, like that would be fine. Like,
and you know what, we definitely should be pointing out that this is a spinoff of Unite the Right,
right.
which, you know, that was the death of Heather Heyer.
Charlottesville pitchforks.
Yeah, yeah, and the tiki torches.
Tiki torches.
Jews will not replace us.
That's why they're wearing, yes, Adam. And that's why they're wearing the mask, because they were not masked then, and a lot of them lost their jobs. The employers, people on social media did our jobs and were like, fire this guy. And he was like, he was an employee at Subway and lost his job, you know, like, it's so
like if you have to put on a mask to carry your message, then like it's the wrong
modern
message.
KKK, like Adam said.
But isn't correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but isn't there some federally sanctioned group that walks around with military style clothing without identification?
ICE
that has masks on.
That's what a lot of people were saying. These are ICE, these are ICE people.
They are 100% ICE agents. You can't convince me.
It's a circle.
Yeah,
that's right. It's like, well, I used the one from
the Venn
the
diagram is small.
Yeah, it's the Office meme of like they're the same picture.
They're the same picture.
Like, it's this. You put the Klan ICE people, and like they're all the same picture.
It's like they take a Spider-Man photo of him, the meme of him pointing at each other, and one guy ICE, one guy Patriot Front, one guy Proud Boys.
What's really concerning to me, based on the videos that you are sharing, Chris, is there's a lot more. There is many, many more than there were the last time I saw them.
They said about 400. Yeah, it's not. This is a lot more than what we've had, that we've seen in the past, or at least that I've seen.
That first picture you showed, though, is one of those pictures that you instantly know 30 years from now is going to be in a textbook. It's just so perfectly encapsulates
Pulitzer for sure.
Her face was just perfect because it was like
that was
really
gut-wrenching. Because that was the first photo that a lot of people, or the first image that a lot of people saw that day, and then they were like scrolling through social media, like, what is happening here? And then you saw this marching, and first of all, it was Independence Day. It was the 4th of July. So it's just like, this cannot be happening. And obviously that was intentional. Here's a reaction of a Casey, to your point, you wish you had been in DC. Here's a woman that was, and here's her reaction. Look at this.
Those are. Oh my God. Not the Proud Boys walking through DC.
She said Proud Boys.
Tripped. Oh my God, y'all.
And then I posted
in this country.
We've seen that before. We know that is a dangerous and foreboding and ominous sign.
Let me pause. So I think it was 1922 KKK, and this was like thousands of them marched through DC, and it was a whole ass event. So keep an eye on the lower video
Birth
footage.
Of a Nation time.
What was that?
Birth of a Nation.
Yeah.
Prompted the resurgence of the Klan.
Yeah. Yes.
And if you remember, in the 30s, they had an event at Madison Square Garden, and I remember
Father Conklin.
Yeah, and I remember something a little bit more recent and also hate-filled, xenophobic, anti-immigrant event in Madison Square Garden, maybe in October of 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody remember that?
No.
It was a rally.
Oh,
yeah, I mean, is that what
Trump
we're calling
rally?
it? Yeah,
that is exactly where we're going, a Trump rally. And still people voted
that was when I thought he was going to lose, but
I thought so too.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to bring this up, but they look like they stand out and they want to stand out and they're very intimidating and they look like Klan. They look like the KKK did.
Oh, no, to me, they look like incels who
No, they look
well,
like,
yeah.
But
I mean,
they do.
But if
So in other words, they look like the Klan.
They do. They want to look.
Yeah, I mean,
the Klan
I think it's the
look
masks more than anything. These
Yeah.
masked men with the flags also. Like, to me, the way they're dressed, no. Like, come on,
yeah, I mean, it's like they're not in the cover of darkness with flames and like
Right.
that made, and the KKK was like they were the first ones out the gate, like in that era, and now we know what that is, and it's daylight, so they don't get the like cover of night. You know what I mean? Like the night does things for people. It can kind of like make things more mysterious or scary. But it's like now you're like right next to me, like walking, like we're waiting at the same crosswalk or something, and like you're wearing Old Navy khakis and
KKK is still alive and well in the South. I mean, they don't.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you a story.
You
It's
don't
not
have to go
really
to
my
the
story to tell. But I don't think David would mind me saying this. So he was campaigning with Doug Jones. They were speaking at a black church in Alabama, obviously. When they came out of the church across the street, the KKK was there, full garb with a burning cross, because they did not like that a white man was speaking at a black church running for Senate. And this was, I mean, it's been some years, it's 10 years ago, but, or not even that long, but, this is modern day. So watch this clip.
For what is happening in this country, not what's to come, but for what's happening right now. Shout out. Look, I mean, these people this is white supremacy. This is a Klan rally on the Washington, D.C. subway system, a complete takeover of public territory. That does not make 50 to 60% of this country feel safe or secure in any way. So the president's speech was almost irrelevant when you see this hate group with masks on, these cowards walking through public territory unfettered and unbothered. And shout out to the photographer who captured the young black girl sitting on the train in the midst of all this hate. That is an instant Pulitzer, and it's reminiscent of the Ruby Bridges and the Birmingham Hoses and the dogs. And it's in 2026. So for real, the president's speech didn't matter too much when you see him condoning and not speaking against this, because we hear what you have to say, but more importantly, we see what you do and what you condone.
This was on the 4th of July, this momentous holiday. How much did that exacerbate your reaction to it? And how much should it? When you look at these 400 or so marching, peacefully through, but they had the gall to do this on this holiday, full of Confederate flags, their own flags and all.
Yeah. Well, we have to remember that Washington, D.C. is federal land. So ultimately, these white supremacist hate group protesters were doing so with the tacit approval of the federal government. And I understand the First Amendment notions that everyone has the right to protest, but this is a violent, ominous, threatening group. We know what they are, we know who they are, and we've seen them do this before. And the reality is that they did this yesterday with the absolute and complete approval of this federal government, this administration. It is completely intentional that it was on July 4th. It is completely intentional, and the message was received that they intend to intimidate ahead of these midterm elections and frankly, ahead of the 2028 elections.
And let's also add, this group was formed in the wake of that fatal Charlottesville rally there near University of Virginia. So that should be duly noted.
Also, this is the leader of the group, and I'm putting him up there because there's been the narrative from the right on social has been, oh, Antifa. Also, the Fox News folks were like, it's Antifa. This is not Antifa. This is actually a person with a name. I'm not going to say his name. We don't need to share his name, but notice he's not masked. You know, he is a known figure with this group.
Can you say his Grindr profile name? No?
Okay.
I mean, the problem with all of this is like, first of all, I just know they're trying to do something. They're just trying to get hate speech covered under the First Amendment. Like, I just know there's something they're doing. You know, now that they've got all these extra Supreme Court justices, I feel like they're going to start demonstrating more because they're doing some kind of fucker. There's always an agenda that way. And then also just this idea that they really are trying to rewrite the entirety of our history and what it means to be an American when we're the ones that stole all this land in the first place. It's just watching them. It's not just the hypocrisy of that. It's like, do you really think what's happening right now is so great? Because like that's what white people have done. Like I look at like, have you noticed like our like what's going right in our country right now? Because that's a white man doing that. Like you understand. There's not even like as a white person, like what are we really proud about right now? Like what? Like what? Look at this. It's just what a weird thing to continue to double down, like to make your identity hating somebody else when like look at what your best is. Like these like saggy, like wet men like that obviously women don't like, so they're angry about it and they got to come march
I like the
their
person
sentiments known
in the chat that said follow the money, they're being paid.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
I want to follow where they're getting their masks because they're obviously getting them from the same place.
Yeah, they are like really uniform.
Yeah,
the whole
it's organized.
So find that out.
They're not from the DC area or Virginia.
That's what I was.
They're from Texas, I'm pretty sure.
I was like, I wish we could track them and find out when they're coming or whatever, because I would love to meet them.
If I had not been in the hospital, I would have been downtown. But
well, you didn't know. We didn't know. So exactly the case.
Well, I think that's the point, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the element of surprise and on a big stage, on a big day to get as much exposure as you can possibly get.
Remember pre-January 6th, there was a lot of chatter on the internet, and I remember clocking it like something's going down on January 6th. We didn't know what. We didn't know it was going to be insurrection, but there was going to be.
I knew it was going to be wild.
Yeah.
I was told to be there. It'll be wild.
Yeah. So there was a lot of chatter on the internet, and I think there's probably something here. We probably weren't looking.
Like we could create some sort of a like app or, you know, that like notifies you when they're in your area. Because if I hadn't been sick, I would have hopped in an Uber. I mean, I would have hopped in an Uber and like jetted down there with my like rainbow signs and like, you know, whatever. I hate incels, whatever my messaging was going to be. I would have that ready on like repeat. Like if I was getting like text alerts, like, oh, you know, like how they like, oh, a flood warning is in effect. Well, now there's like incels like here because Patriot Front's here. I would 100% like jump in an Uber and get down there. Like I can't, mass transit from where I am would take too long. I'm so sorry. Like it's just the buses don't run as much out. But normally I would say jump on the metro, but in this case I'd have to actually take an Uber. But anyway, my point is, wouldn't that be cool if like, I mean, I know we can't necessarily predict them, but like once we're here you could report like, you know, like to a phone thing, we'd get all these like messages so we could show up and be like, go away, we don't want you here.
So we're going to talk about Trump for a little bit before we move on to Plattner, but make sure everybody knows this about how, so we had the 250th and a lot of things going on in DC that needed funding. This is so upsetting.
To an MS Now analysis of a federal contracting database from just the last 7 months, at least $90 million in national park entrance fees are being funneled to Washington, D.C., paying for some of those fountains, a fraction of that algae-riddled reflecting pool, and about $1.6 million towards the National Mall fireworks, all while national parks battle a $24 billion maintenance backlog.
I feel incredibly frustrated. I feel deeply saddened by it.
Former Park Service Director Jonathan Jarvis calling this diversion unprecedented.
I think it's a major mistake, political mistake on the part of the administration.
Whenever a visitor pays a fee at a popular park, federal law requires at least 80% of it stays within that park for upkeep. About 20% is usually spread to smaller sites that don't charge at all, like the National Mall. However,
that process is not being followed now.
Instead, park advocates say the general pool is being drained and poured into the nation's capital. And while DC parks need repairs too, they can't believe projects across the country are going unfunded, many related to public safety.
So there's one park that we heard from that spent countless hours of work, both at the park and at the support office. They had done the site assessment, they had done the surveying, they had crunched the numbers and put the budget together, and they were told that they had the money, and then that was taken away, and they were told, sorry, we're diverting that money to Washington, D.C.
In fact, The Atlantic reports more than 900 Park Service projects expecting millions this year never received it.
So what do you guys think of that?
Did you know that there was a second DC fountain or water stream of some sort that now is brown water?
I guess it's rust. What do you guys think
I was
that is?
upset. I just want to point out that if you have a national parks membership card, that now Trump's face is on it, which is like, that's also just really upsetting to me. I don't think that that's typical from, I don't have one. I'm sorry if I've let you down, but I don't have one of those. But apparently Trump's face is on it now. And that is just like, somebody had done it. They were showing, I think I saw it on TikTok or maybe it was Instagram, but someone had done a little hack so that you could like not have to see their faces. But I was like, God, they just keep taking everything good from this country. They just take everything good away.
Think of the people that got his name or his face tattooed on them.
The idiots, you mean?
They like that kind of stuff. But this is just sad because it's like, this is the stuff where, you know, it's protecting things that we can't just get back. You know what I mean? It's like when he knocked down the East Wing, like we can rebuild a building. We can't rebuild that building. And so like with these national parks and the land that he's selling off or land that he's not like doing anything to help, this is stuff that could, you know, maybe never be fixed again. And that's just sad to think about the stuff that
everything they do though is just so shoddy and like with so little planning, and it's just not like, I mean, even the fireworks show, look at this.
Oh God.
But like,
let me tell you,
and it looks like an attack.
I found all of the Patriot Front members and they were all in my comments and that I
all
made
they cared about
this.
was like, let's have the biggest. But like
they
somebody
were
also
so
pointed out
mad.
that orange and red fireworks are the cheapest. You don't
the
see
red is
you
the
don't
cheapest.
see the blues and the purples and all of that.
It's like I made a comment. I was like, this is like the same kind of man that can't find the clitoris. Like that's what this is. This is like, that's the kind of, if you look at this, that's what it is. And every woman knows exactly what I'm talking about. It's just like the same pattern over and over and over of ugliness. And it's like, there's no variation. There's no choreography. There's no rhythm. There's nothing but just that. And when I tell you that was the dinner bell for incels, they all came out. They were so mad. I'm like, you really think that that's good? Like, go watch a Disney fireworks show. Like, they know how to do it. Watch New York. Like, watch it. Like this. That's not what this was. This was just like bam, bam, bam. And then someone else said that it was like napalm. I was like, oh God. Like, somebody check on Stephen Miller because he's jacking off somewhere right now. Like, I just know it. Like, this was terrible. It was such a waste of money.
I just have to. I'm from the Bay Area, from the Golden Gate. Okay, I'm like 30 minutes from there, and I just want to say the fogged out Golden Gate Bridge on the 4th of July fireworks was better than whatever that is. Yeah,
and they had an air quality alert the next day. Wasn't
we did, and let me tell you, my
it
air
was like
quality,
red alert.
It was like 2 days. 2 days for my air purifier to stop running red. That's how long? Because
on the clitoral finding issue, I'm married 35 years, so I'm hoping that that's not an issue anymore. You know.
Yeah, but you didn't plan this fireworks show.
Well, obviously
you
not.
had,
You know.
All right,
if you had
2
'cause
kids. You know, I mean, there's been some success there, I think.
well, you don't need to know where that is to make kids. That's the
true.
point. But
And unlike Ben Shapiro, never mind.
Okay, so this news came up, and I was really shocked. Go ahead.
I wanted to say, do we know the final tally on the amount that was spent for the fireworks? Like, did anybody get a final number on that? I mean, not that we believe anything they're saying, but like,
yeah, I was going to say, and I think
this
it needs
is a good example of something.
reporting at this point. It's not.
This is something that we
can't control herself. This is.
I mean, look, it took investigative reporting to find out like they're actually redirecting money from national parks to pay for this stuff. So
we should have figured this out, because this is my bad, because we can find the going rate for a firework and then multiply it by however many, because they told us how many they had because they wanted to get the record or whatever.
One of the things that really bothered me, you guys, a lot of people want to argue with me in my posts about it, but if you actually look at if you go back and you actually watch like footage, it didn't start. The fireworks did not start until after midnight, like at midnight. So
they're calling them
they're doing the 4th of July on July 5th. So we're not even like on the same day.
Everybody was saying, like, how did you like those 5th of July fireworks? And again, that made the incels really mad.
That's
like
hilarious.
People were very offended that we thought that these were a waste of money and that they were very poorly timed, and that, you know, he fell asleep watching them. I forgot to send you the picture of that, but like there's pictures of him falling asleep watching that.
Initially, I was like, I feel bad for these folks, right? Like you went and waited in the heat, and then I wait a minute. No, actually, I don't.
And
like,
by the way, it was miserable.
Yeah.
It was so bad here. The lightning was so terrible. It was weird because initially there was so much thunder and lightning. I thought they were going to like scrap the whole thing, but then I was like, oh, they don't care if people die. So then all of a sudden it was like, we couldn't tell what was thunder versus what was the lightning show. That's how bad, or the fireworks show. That's how bad it was. Like the thunder was really loud, and then the fireworks.
Remember, they evacuated. I don't have any footage of that, but they evacuated. And
it was a mess.
People ended up in the African American Museum, which was just
that was terrible.
So much irony there. And remember, Trump posted on Truth Social, like, come back, where it's going to be the greatest show ever. So,
yeah, they only had 150,000 people there, which is like really sad for a 250th anniversary celebration, no less. Yeah. But my point,
he ruined it for everybody.
He ruined it. But the people that actually showed up and went, they were in pouring down rain. It was awful. Like the conditions were miserable. So just like, the bad people were treated to a terrible show.
I heard that they were complaining and blaming the liberals in the National Weather Service for lying about it. It's unbelievable. People are
one of the things that I saw were videos of folks like screaming at security and being really angry, let us in.
When they were evacuating,
yeah. And so, these folks, I can't. I'm just beside myself. And I trying really hard not to use curse words right now. But I do not understand why people would want to listen to that person speak. Like the ego it takes to make these folks wait even longer just so you can speak. Like he didn't have anything to say. It was another rally. It was the same old. There wasn't.
Well,
it was all the horrible things. It was,
Remember why he was speaking, Michelle? Because all of the acts that he lined up canceled because they didn't want to be associated with him.
That's right.
Well, they said they
couldn't get
anyone home. So, yeah, there's like, I know there were folks. I was actually
they couldn't get one big name performer. Not a single, like, I don't know anybody. Like there was no.
Vanilla Ice was going to perform, but he got canceled because of the weather, apparently. But he's not a big performer. He's a has-been.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a former Sammy Hagar fan. Okay. No longer, but he was there and he posted a whole video about why he wasn't performing. and it was a whole thing. You know,
I mean, I'm sure
good for
vanilla
him.
ice, with it being so hot, that's one of the things. But you'd think the turtles would have been okay in the rain. So,
question. I have a question. With all these projects going on in these vanity projects, I would have thought that by tearing down the wing at the White House, that somebody would have marched in there and put handcuffs on him. Why?
They're not stopping him. Nobody's stopping him. He's not getting proper permits. He's not getting the proper approvals. He's not going for Congress. They're funneling money from other projects. They are not, and they're no bid contracts. I mean, you can go on and on and on. I mean, since we're talking about projects, what's going on with the columns at the White House?
Is that the column mural thing?
Yeah, Chris put that up.
That's amazing.
It's unbelievable. Like they can't even put up curtains.
No, yeah.
They can't even put up tarps that look like reasonable. Everything is so trashy. What in the like 5th grade theater department is this? Like this looks like some kind of photo backdrop you got from Shein.
It's giving Wizard of Oz vibes, you guys.
We should take that. You think they're doing gold stickers, or are they gonna do like faux marbling? Like what are they doing?
They have to pay more for this than just a white tarp, is what I'm saying. We are paying more than just a plain white tarp. Like this is insane.
Well, maybe we won't notice.
An illusion. You got like this is so Wizard of Oz. Don't look at the guy behind the curtain, y'all, because
oh my god!
Did you get a gander at the triumphal arch at the 250 celebration?
Yeah.
The one
I swear to God, my first thought was if you remember the original Spinal Tap, when they wanted to do Stonehenge. And they screwed it up by making it 12 inches high instead of 12 feet high, and they were tripping all over it. That was what came to mind for me.
I probably should have sent this in for you all to watch, because I think
Craig, we're talking about all the various foibles, to put it nicely, with construction and trying to redo things in Washington, D.C., that he is screwing up eminently and corruptly.
And then he's taking money from us.
Right.
And
all of this is costing
the columns you see right now in that photo are not actual columns. It's a painted.
This is what I'm saying. Like we had to pay more for that. We had to pay more for that than if they had just put up like regular tarps. It's like everything about this country is a mess. Like I just sent Chris a video. I don't know if you can pull it up and share it, but this was what I made, like, to summarize our July 4th, and I feel that this is like my mood for the entirety of our like nation right now. And I don't know. You can.
I can try. I need a minute.
Anyway, so like just to give you like what I did was I just took kind of the snapshots from the state fair, and just in general, like I wanted to document the 250th anniversary, and I felt like I was really upset that they stole what should have been like a celebration. I mean, like, we don't have a perfect history, but like maybe we were moving towards something better, and celebrating that. But instead, we have this.
Listen, I remember I was alive and was about 12 years old for the bicentennial. And this was a countrywide phenomenon, and everybody was patriotic and loved it. And I happened to be fortunate enough to be in New York City on the top of the building, watching all of the ships come in. Wow. And it was just beautiful. It was wonderful. All these tall, sailing ships, period ships, from old times replicas, and it was just stirring, moving. This was, Spinal Tap getting the measurements wrong and tripping over the supposedly monolithic pieces of stone.
It was sad. It was sad. But this made me laugh. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It was
I mean,
cathartic.
I don't think anyone died, but whatever. All right. So
only of laughter.
This is kind of crazy.
Did you get the video? Can you show it?
I can't because the dock is full. I have to take stuff out to put it in,
That's
and then
fine.
I'm going to lose track. Sorry. But moving on to, did y'all hear about this? So Trump is demanding, in order for the states to get anti-terrorist funding, they have to turn over their voter data. This is illegal, like that he's doing it this way. So this should be. I haven't heard about the lawsuits yet. I just found out about this, I think, a couple days ago. Have you heard about it? Do you know what's going on?
No.
I know the lawsuits have been started by some states, but don't know where that's gone.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, well, this should work very well in New York and in Los Angeles. I mean, that's brilliant idea.
This is different than them firing the other committee, right?
I think they're just asking for the voter data in each state in order for them to get anti-terrorist funding. So this means states are going to be left unsafe. I honestly don't know a lot of what goes on in the anti-terrorism funding. Like, I don't know. Like, I think California will probably be okay. New York will probably be okay. Like, we're going to be the main targets anyway, but we're not going to leave ourselves, just like red states aren't going to be. I don't know. Who the hell knows? Like,
right. One of those states is Utah.
Then you have like Oklahoma City.
Utah doesn't count.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point, Chris, because we're not necessarily talking about international terrorism.
Right.
It's very much a domestic problem.
Do you happen to have a photo of the guy who's in charge of our anti-terrorist?
No.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh.
No, but that sounds bad.
You've seen the photo of like the guy with he kind of looks like Big Bob, like the hair kind of does the weird thing, and he's got this crooked, evil grin on his face.
Cartoon villain.
He's like 23, 24 years old.
Yeah, I did hear about that.
Yeah.
An ex-Doge guy, if I remember correctly.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Okay, so watch this video. I was really surprised to see this on Fox.
Before. Sorry.
10-figure business deals breaking the Trump family's way for rare earth minerals and for cryptocurrency. The Wall Street Journal editorial board writes, assuming all of this is legal, it's still an unseemly display of using the presidency for family profit. It's hard to believe the Trump boys would be able to do the same deals if Dad wasn't in the Oval Office. The main difference between Hunter Biden's foreign dealings and the Trump projects is that the Trumps are brazenly open about theirs.
It's the biggest grift of all time. Donald Trump has turned the White House into his own ATM.
Last year, the Wall Street Journal reported about Binance, the crypto exchange. Binance took steps that catapulted the Trump family venture's new stablecoin product, enhancing its credibility and pushing its market capitalization up from $127 million to over $2.1 billion. Its incarcerated co-founder then earned a presidential pardon.
I do not have any business relationship with any of the sons of President Trump.
The president insists with the stock market going up, a rising tide lifts all boats.
So we're all profiting. I'm profiting because I have a lot of money and a lot of cash, and I give it to institutions. I don't know if they know what they're doing or not, but they buy a vast array of things.
A new interview with President Trump just finished airing on CNBC, and in it, the president was asked if he knew that the family was getting into the crypto business. The president said he could know it wouldn't be illegal, and that he feels badly for his sons, Don Jr. and Eric, because any business decision that they make is so scrutinized.
Oh, poor thing. I was shocked that this was on Fox News. I thought this was a pretty good report for them. It was pretty comprehensive.
Which I like, because that's all he watches.
So bad for those boys. My heart goes out to them.
Yeah.
Truly.
Seriously. Okay, so
But you see, that was a good example, by the way, of him losing train of thought. I mean, I know he does it all the time, but this is a good example when I talked about the fact that he can't lie on demand anymore, like as successfully, because he does not have the cognition to do it. That was like an example of him starting with one statement and he couldn't follow through. Like he couldn't get where he wanted to go with that.
I think it's very fair to say. I mean, we're not doctors, but something is going. Like he's mental. Like I don't know if it's.
He's not qualified to be president. Like at this point, like the cognition level, it would exempt him from holding this kind of office. So
my wife is in the next rooms, but so I don't know if she's going to hear me say this, but she's convinced they drug him to make him like, you know, sometimes his speeches sound like fairly normal. And then other times it's like, what planet is he on? She thinks they drug him to make him seem normal. And I think
100%.
That's not a bad theory.
I think she's
They're
right.
not doing a very good job. Normal?
No, this is what they have.
Well, I mean, Trump normal, you know, but
they could give him Adderall.
I don't think that's enough. I think it's
that's the problem. I think they're overdoing it sometimes, and like I think they can't quite get it right. Like, well, I mean, everybody is different too, and when you're at that age, like I'm sure everything changes, depends on your stress levels, your travel, your sleep, whatever. And you can tell when they get it wrong. Like it's pretty obvious.
So this was a very obvious like issue. Remember how they used to talk about Biden all the time?
God.
Like they would do these faux like repeat like on loop and things. This is just Trump going down the stairs and then I guess he's being guided by Erdogan.
It was so embarrassing. Everybody in the world was talking about this. Like you have to have another president literally tell your president where to walk. Like he's just completely confused. He has no idea what's going on.
Come on.
And he glitched a couple times. Did you? I don't know if you have that video, but the video of him glitching, like where he's like, when he was giving the speech at the UN, like he's just saying wrong words. Like it's just you can't even understand what he's saying.
There's another video of him where there's like the space where him I think it was in Drogon. I can't remember, but it was recently, so I'm assuming it was him. There's like a circle that they're supposed to stand in, and there's like the military lined up, and Trump is literally spinning around, and he had to grab him and like set him, you know, like a chess like a chess piece, like literally you could see him kind of like, dude. It's so embarrassing right now to me to see
Michelle,
that.
have you noticed the way he stands? I'm very cautious.
Oh, they say that's a sign of dementia. I don't really get it, but
it's like a lean forward. It's the whole.
He also wears lifts because he wants to be taller. So maybe that's part of it.
Baby lifts don't do that to you.
Maybe you should wear a girdle.
Yeah. Okay. So remember well, watch this. The pool, the guy the Olympian.
Priority not only for the president, but for myself as well. So, today a grand jury has returned a felony indictment against a defendant, David Hearn, for felony destruction of property, for which he faces 10 years in prison. The indictment is in response to an incident that occurred on June 19th of 2026, in which the defendant Hearn ripped a piece of recently installed sealant on the bottom of the reflecting pool at the Lincoln Memorial. By Hearn's own admission, on June 19th, he reached down into the pool. Our evidence further shows that the National Park Service employees observed Hearn actually forcefully and violently pulling up and removing the bottom liner with both hands.
They always overdo it. Like when they, you know, she didn't have to say that, like forcefully and violently. Like, where's the video?
According to witnesses, Hearn damaged approximately 2 square feet of sealant from the bottom of the pool.
And didn't Trump say it was like 300 feet, like someone took a knife?
350 feet.
A
250, 300,
actually told Hearn to stop his behavior and stop what he was doing. Hearn reacted by shouting at that park's employee, saying that she cared too much about the reflecting pool. And why did she even care, since it wasn't her pool? Now, Mr. Hearn's behavior was characterized by witnesses as belligerent, rude, and disrespectful, according to National Park Service employees that witnessed the event.
She claims that there's evidence of him ripping it out forcibly with both his hands.
The account that Janine Pirro just gave, and specifically Janine Pirro's citation to National Park Service employees who she says spoke to other witnesses describing David Hearn as belligerent, asking a National Park Service employee why she cared so much that it wasn't her pool. They are at odds with some of the public reporting of the incident, including public reporting in which David Hearn is himself quoted. Hearn told the Washington Post that he reached into the water to see what it felt like, and then said moments later, as he was preparing to leave, U.S. Park Police officers arrested him on a misdemeanor charge of destruction of government property.
First of all, can you imagine what her Supreme Court case decisions are going to read?
She's so
like
hard to
with
take
this?
seriously.
I mean, this is just what a nightmare.
Okay, let me take this one though, because this is a woman from my backyard.
Take it.
I have actually
Take it all.
way back when I actually appeared in front of Janine Pirro when she was a judge, before she was even a district attorney. She was considered to be a very serious district attorney, and was one of the primary drivers behind interesting choice of words, behind the fight against drunk driving. That was really her cause back in the day. And then when her husband was found guilty of tax evasion is when it all sort of started to fall apart for Ms. Pirro. And she has just become more of an embarrassment every day. And I just can't reconcile this lizard with the person that I appeared in front of and didn't like, but at least respected as a judge.
This is fascinating, Adam, because I always wonder about their origin story, like what happens, because a lot of them start out like in noble ways or like doing things that are somewhat good or like, you know what I mean? And then they just take a turn somewhere. And that's fascinating. Hers is because her husband went to jail for tax evasion.
Trump happened.
Yeah. Her husband was basically the Donald Trump of Westchester County. And of course, Westchester County being immediately north of New York City, Trump and her husband were friends. So
didn't he get a pardon? What did he do? He did something.
Did Al Pirro get a pardon? He probably did.
I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
Well, why did she talk like that? That's not normal.
And it wasn't like that when she was way back when.
It's like they get the Mar-a-Lago effect. They all get surgery. They all get bad makeup. They all get bad styling, and then they talk like this, and it's very dramatic and like. I don't understand. Like, it can't all just be lead poisoning. That's not contagious. So I don't understand what's happening. But I will say this. It's weird to me that they don't think that we have tons of social media. Like, people were out there taking video footage, and you're going to tell me that they're going to prove that this is what happened. I bet there's people who have actual video proof showing that didn't happen. Like, and this kid's attorneys are going to get that. And I hope they embarrass them on a global scale.
I think they're overcharging him. They're like, it's a felony, and then I think it's like 10 years in prison if he's guilty. Yeah. It's something crazy.
Something along that, yes.
Yeah, and then there's video on social media, photos of the paint before he even got to it. Like, there was already somebody pulling it out of the pool because they're like, what the hell is this? You know, and this was like, I remember telling you, Casey, I was like, I don't know if that's real. Like, I don't know if, like, I was really suspicious at first of this video. I didn't want to post it. But I saw it late at night and I was like, what the hell? And then the next day everybody was posting it and then it was authenticated. So it was just like, that was way before the Olympian. The Olympian, no, that was.
And in the meantime, you just see case after case after case of the DOJ embarrassing themselves. The inability to indict Comey, the incident with the sandwich guy, which was Janine Pirro as well.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Oh, yes.
Man.
The Chicago group, including Kat, I cannot pronounce her last name. Where there you go. Where they were tampering with the grand jury. That was not Janine Pirro, but that was another office. And yesterday, I think it was, if you remember, the judge in Wisconsin that allowed, or it was maybe Minnesota, that allowed an immigrant to go through the back door for a courtroom and was charged criminally. I think that she was just found innocent, or not guilty, I should say.
She was found guilty, but she didn't get jail time. She got
that's right.
She got a $5,000 fine.
So we're gonna move on, but like
the same people that won't release the Epstein files, they're refusing to turn those over. Shocking.
So Plattner has been in the news, obviously, and Republicans and the right are loving it on social media.
Do not.
They just think we're awful.
Not.
So we're gonna watch this little clip here.
About Republicans. When we had a very bad candidate and found out, we didn't vote for that person. Right. We walked away.
For better or for worse.
Yeah. When Matt Gaetz came forward, we got rid of him.
Yeah. Kevin McCarthy, as always, great to see you.
Involving Alabama Senate candidate Roy Moore tonight. A fifth woman now stepping forward to accuse him of sexual assault when she was 16.
Tonight, a woman who was in a 5-year relationship with Republican Herschel Walker speaking out to NBC News.
I believe the deception now is on the American people.
Her story, not the first allegation of domestic abuse against the former football star. His ex-wife, Cindy Grossman, spoke out in 2008.
He got a gun and he put it to my temple.
From what I understand from doctors, that's really rare. If it's a legitimate rape, the female body has ways to try to shut that whole thing down.
Hey, when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the
In a statement tonight, Trump saying this was locker room banter.
So Donald Trump, Roy Moore, Herschel Walker, Todd Ekin are all in that video, and they're, and also as Democrats, we should be better than them. Like we're not gonna, use them as our standard bearer, but they are actually having the nerve to say that they're better than
Hold on.
You better let Casey go.
Let me, no, this has been an exercise in,
I think Casey's going to say what I'm going to say.
Casey's going to explode.
I'm trying to save my nervous system. I was going to read you a couple of the tweets. You can't hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Please.
I can hear you,
yeah.
So this is some of the tweets that the Republicans posted today. And so today, the Republicans on Twitter, literally the Republicans, see their account. Okay. You can see this. And I have shared some of it to my threads as well, because I was like, girl, what? Every Democrat that endorsed Graham Plattner endorsed a rapist.
Go out and come back in.
Oh yeah. Susan has to go out and come back in because she can't hear. Oh, well, maybe I'll save Susan this. And so then they quote tweeted Chuck Schumer, who was talking about Susan Collins in Maine. And they're like, I think you said this before about a rapist, also from the Republicans. The Democrat establishment was fully ready to make a rapist a United States senator. They only took him out because he was going to lose. Democrats are okay with predators like Graham Plattner until their poll numbers are down. And then they went on and did more. And I would just like to point out that they are literally trolling the Democrats and saying that we pick predators as our politicians. And I swear to Christ, if the Democrats cannot mount a social media campaign against this, y'all, I'm gonna die. Because my blood pressure, I don't have a problem with it now, but I will, because there's no way I'm surviving this. He's our president is a rapist. He's a trafficker, or a protector of people who traffic children. They're pedophiles. What do you mean? You can't moralize shit to me. Go away. Oh my God.
What's John Edwards up to? What's Anthony Weiner doing right now? Where's Andrew Cuomo right now? What's Eric Swalwell's prospects?
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear this.
This is dumb.
But
why are we entertaining this?
But why do we hold ourselves to a higher standard than Republicans?
Because we're not assholes.
Yeah, I think we should. We're not,
because if we don't, then what's the point?
Yeah,
because we have integrity.
Yeah,
I like that.
We are a big tent party, but that party cannot include pedophiles, rapists, and racists.
I like
so, go away if that's the case. So,
but it's the fact that they're out there making claims about Plattner, and like, girl, go clean your own house first. Like, I mean, and by that I mean like tent the whole damn thing and just pour the poison in, because you need to just, everything needs to be exterminated in the Republican
And
Party
we are
anyway.
taking
Like,
care of this. We're
right.
going to take care of our house. You take
Like,
care of
what's
your
your
house.
problem? We like got rid of him. Like, now you're mad about it? Go cry somewhere else.
So I'm gonna go a little bit rogue here and go behind the reformers curtain for just a little peek. We of course have discussed Mr. Plattner on a few occasions.
We're going to have a lot to say about him tonight.
Yeah. Well, and before, I think it was before the first significant allegation came out, right? That we all decided that listen, you know, win, lose, or draw, whatever happens with this guy, everybody's free to do whatever they want, but I don't think any one of us basically ever came out and supported him in any way, shape, or form. And you know, this goes back to the Totenkopf, but I mean, it was clear to getting worse and worse and worse. What's that?
That was October, by the way, in case anybody forgot. It was in October.
I mean, but with this, it was like, listen, you cannot have a rapist or a sexual abuser as your candidate. You can't stop him from being in your party, but for God's sakes, you can't stop voting for him.
You can have him as president.
Yeah.
The biggest
He's a Republican. We didn't elect him.
Yeah.
Is
that's the other guys, Susan. I mean, that ain't us.
Like what happened with Kamala, of being put behind the 8 ball, of losing time, money, resources. You know, this is the problem now. So I was just up in Portland, Maine, and this is before the allegations were brought this past week, and around Portland, and we traveled around the city and significantly into the suburbs of Portland. And Portland is their largest city at only 68,000 people. So, you know, for somebody that lives in New York and Los Angeles, even in Philadelphia, you think like this is a small town to us, you know. But there were only Plattner signs, no Collins, no anything, and there were tons of them. So what that speaks to for me is this is going to be quite a challenge, because all of that momentum that had been built up is going to have to be redirected. And as we saw with Kamala Harris, there were some people that were like, I'm not going to support her because of what happened to Biden. There were some people that were like, well, I don't know enough about her. They're like, you know, it's the exact same thing has happened here, where it is the timing of it. It is the resources that have not been allocated. You know, from a very practical standpoint, this has put the entire country at risk because of what happened here.
And you said this. I would like to point out, you specifically said this. You were one of the first people to say this, that I remember saying this. And you said it on this live. You said, the problem with this is that it's taking money away from what could be other campaigns.
Yep.
This should have been a gimme. And
Yep.
then if something happens like this, right? The amount of money that it's going to take to try to dig the Democrats out is money we don't necessarily have. And here we are. And the problem is with narcissists, which I'm going to clock this guy as that. I don't have a degree in it, but I don't care. Nobody in this administration does either. And they just say shit. So this is where we are. Like, this guy has all the hallmarks of a narcissist, and narcissists don't just let go of power. Like, they make it about them, like, until they draw their last breath. So this, like, the fact that he's saying, I'll probably file the paperwork on Monday, tells me I don't think this man has any intention of filing his paperwork. Like, I think he's going to hold on to that money.
His video saying that he was going to suspend his campaign, not drop out, was just a masterclass in narcissism. It
100%.
was completely about him. It was not about his victim. It was deflection. It was infuriating to watch.
I couldn't watch the whole thing. So props to you if you made it through. Like I couldn't do it because it was like you could just see the gaslighting, you could see the deflection, the Darvo, like it was all there, and I couldn't get through it. But this is like
there
if
was
you've
nothing
been like
redeeming about it, nothing.
right, and
He
but if you
accepted no
followed,
responsibility, and it was all. And I find this to be the case from the left a lot. They want to blame establishment. They don't take any. You know, like it's these outside forces. No, the outside forces had nothing to do with Plattner. They had nothing to do with his, you know, with his problems. It's, you know, I just didn't understand what he was saying. And he took no responsibility, no apology. And now on top of it, everyone's Maine is on hold. I mean, they're doing their best. They are working hard to try and prepare for this. But like, honestly, if he doesn't do his paperwork, if he doesn't file to withdraw by Monday, the deadline, it's going to be a problem. And even if he does, they have less than 3 weeks to do 6 months of work. We're going to, you know, oh God, it's just, it's
and the background was that he's trying to hold the process up because he wants a say in who is going to replace him on the ballot.
like if
this man is untrustworthy.
He's
like,
an egomaniac. I think this is all about wanting to burn it down. I think he wanted to do it from the beginning. I find it very interesting, the patterns, right, that we've all watched is in his apology redemption tour, whatever you want to call it, where he looked, you know, had the fake puppy dog look, you know, I'm changing, I'm taking accountability until the facts, a credible witness came out and said, well, here this happened, and somebody said, yeah, this is a line too far. I'm sorry, the Nazi tattoo wasn't enough for you?
And it was. And you know what? You know who clocked that? Because you did, Michelle. You know who clocked that was Black people and autistics, because we all went pattern recognition girlies all knew, like as soon as you like there's a type of person, and he's holding, like the fact that he would hold any party hostage at this point, like, right, he doesn't give a fuck about the people of Maine. Like he doesn't care about the party, the Democratic Party, or any other party for that matter. He cares about himself and his reputation, his career, and being in power and continuing to be in power, because that's what he's trying to do. Is he's trying to tell you what the terms are going to be. Like that sounds like a rapist to me. Sounds like someone who doesn't understand what consent is. Sounds like somebody that like wants to use like their power as leverage when they should be like walking away with the tail between their legs, like recognizing that they've made these mistakes, and like the audacity of you to think you could run for office like this when you haven't even had any other political experience. Get the fuck out. I'm so sorry.
But this is where Graham Plattner is the symptom, not the root, because the root is the two political consultants that dug him up.
Okay, well,
this video.
Let's do two things. Let's listen to.
Take a breath.
So his video was 11 minutes. We are not listening to that, obviously, but there is a little clip with some from him. I just want to start with that.
I'm literally using stress balls, y'all. I'm
This
trying.
is incredibly difficult because I know that some will think it's an admission of guilt, and it most certainly is not. We're not doing it because of the allegations. We're doing it because of the structures that are being taken away from us by those in power. And I also feel an immense amount of responsibility to everyone who has worked so hard to get us to where we are. We went toe-to-toe with one of the most entrenched political systems in the history of the world, and we won. We beat them on June 9th in overwhelming numbers. We did it the right way. We built a campaign. We engaged in electoral politics. We motivated people. We banded together. We did it the way that we were told we are supposed to make change. And we won. And now they are not going to let us have it.
I mean, no responsibility there. And these are the strategists that gave us, let me put it this way.
And Dan Osborne.
They handpicked Plattner and gave him to Maine. They brought him to Maine from a fucking video. They looked at videos and were like, he's the guy. And these are the people that made that decision.
You hadn't vetted Graham Plattner. You hadn't done a full scrub of who he is. How did you go about vetting him? And why did you?
We paid a nice firm a whole chunk of money and got some stuff back. Some of what you've seen on the news we got back. Other stuff we didn't.
Did the vetting process turn up the tattoo that became so controversial?
No.
The Reddit posts, did that turn up in the vetting process?
Just lies upon lies.
The firm sent us a thing, and it had some of the posts, but it didn't have all of them.
All of them.
And what did you think about that? How did you think your way through the fact that he had posted these things on social media?
I said none of this will or should stop him from becoming a U.S. Senator.
And what was your
Clearly the
thinking
voters
there?
agree. I think if what the voters wanted were people who were grown in vats and had never done or said anything that they might regret their entire lives, we'd have a very different country. Part of our thesis here is that people do not want their candidates grown in vats. They want people who are real human beings, and they want people who do not look and sound like the vat-grown people who've been leading this country off a cliff for the last century. And that was Graham.
Just days after this interview, more details about Plattner's past emerged.
So,
These
who
are kids.
wants to go first? Y'all.
These
I
are
thought
kids.
this was a spoof at first. I didn't think it was real when I first. I know who they are.
Because he sounds like a
never heard
3-year-old
them.
toddler. I can't. What do you do?
They are not
when he
serious
speaks?
people.
It's awful.
And they found him from an ad that he had done for his mom's restaurant, and then they thought he has the right look, and then they cross-referenced that with a list of donors for Bernie Sanders, and then coached him into doing this. And so they are 100% wholly responsible for this clusterfuck. And they, through their hubris, have risked the entire future of this nation by what they have done. And there is the ninth circle of hell is not low enough for these two.
Watch this.
Hubris is the right word. Hubris.
Watch this other clip because Simone Sanders broke it down pretty well as far as an explainer goes.
This fact on the table and then y'all take it. But the folks who Graham Plattner was recruited, and he was not recruited by the Democratic Party. He was recruited by two folks, Leanne and Dan, okay, who used to work for Senator Sanders in 2020, and they have gone around the country recruiting candidates to run for offices, and unlikely candidates, as you noted. Dan Osborne in Nebraska is one of the folks that they recruited. Everybody they've recruited has not been a dud, if you will. So, I'll give them that. But what they did is they swooped into Maine, okay, and thought that they knew better than the people in Maine, and that they fielded all of these different people. They looked through, they said hundreds of candidates, and they found this video of Graham Plattner, and they were like, this is the guy. He looks like this is the guy. His story is it. They vetted him just a little bit. The firm came back and gave some stuff that has been found out the firm did not know. But the people that lambast, I will just say, as someone that had prior to this spent my life doing campaign work as a professional political staffer, the people who lambast professional political staffers, I think might need to take a step back, because a professional political staffer would have had a communications crisis plan. A professional staffer would have done a SWOT analysis. A professional staffer, somebody who had been in the game for a while, would have said, we got to ask some locals. So I do just think that there is this idea that, the establishment was going to pick a candidate, so one rose up from the dirt. No, baby. Graham Plattner was served up on a platter.
So everybody, I'm going to put this in the chat. Take a minute and Google Fight Agency. They're connected to this, and Fight Agency is giving us a lot of the GSA candidates, a lot of the far left candidates, and they're following this method. So people are saying, like, let Maine do Maine. Like, that was a lot of the narrative along the way. Like, we need Washington elites to stay out of this. But these people aren't from Washington either. They're coming out, coming into Maine thinking they know better, and they're really causing harm.
I think I mentioned this on the
Real
live. I
harm.
know I mentioned it on our call, which was the person that I know that lives in Maine that has done campaign work and has done fundraising and messaging. She, like months ago, soured on Plattner to the point where she was just like, she had already sent in her early ballot and was like, I'm really upset about this because, like, I don't know what we're going to do. This guy is bad news because he's got all these outsiders. And I tried to give them some suggestions as somebody from Maine, right, who has progressive views and like wants to see some of this achieved. And she said it was like a good old boys situation and they just absolutely were unreceptive to any kind of feedback. And like, this was like really hard for her to say, and it was very off the record, and it was like, but it was over time you could just kind of see how this was happening. And that's when I was like, this is like, we already had all these red flags, but then on top of that, not only is he a problem, but everybody that's pushing him is a problem. So it's like a big nest of badness. And that sucks for Maine. And by the way, does anybody remember what the voter turnout was on the primary? Because we keep getting told like, oh, Maine wanted this. Like, I don't know that the voter turnout was super high. Was it? Like,
I think it was pretty high, but.
Oh, okay.
So she just mentioned, why didn't you talk to people local? So we went up to Bar Harbor a couple of years ago, and he lives just northeast of Bar Harbor. And the woman who came out this week lives just northwest of Bar Harbor. They live maybe 10 miles apart. And I just looked up, Bar Harbor has a population of 5,000. And it's like the towns at the Jersey Shore, like I go to. Like it's 15,000 in the summer, 5,000 in the winter. You could have gone to any of the local bars and just asked around. Like any amount of detective work. You didn't have to be Batman. You could have done any amount of slight detective work over drinks at a bar, and you would have found this stuff out. So the fact that they didn't do any due diligence is just absolutely reprehensible.
Well, and I would like to, look, I know this is probably not the time to diss Bernie Sanders, but I'm going to tell you right now that this is the problem with his movement.
I think it's the perfect time. He was involved.
Okay.
He was involved in it. If not now,
this is
when?
The problem. Okay, great. So the Bernie Sanders, everybody that comes out of Bernie Sanders. So this is, once again, like, I understand that you as a person are responsible for your choices and actions, but when you see a myriad of people coming out of a campaign or a candidate, like, right, people connected to a candidate that all have the same flaws, right, then you know that there's something happening with that candidate specifically, that they are churning out this mindset. And what I believe and what seems consistent to me is that they believe they are so right and so just and so pure in what they want to do that they are like absolutely steamrolling over anything else. And that includes marginalized groups. That's why there's so much anti-Blackness tied to this.
And we were speaking up the entire time. And this is the problem I have with, I'm going to say it, Bernie Sanders. He does not connect. So when they say working class, like, I don't hear, they're not talking to me. They're talking to white people. Leave the class part out of it. I work. My wife works. We work. And Bernie and the far left, which I'm a progressive, but I don't appreciate this talk because they're leaving race out of the struggle.
Because they believe that if they socialize
by the elites, and it has nothing to do with race. Black people have generations, hundreds of years of systematic oppression. And I dare anyone in an interview to ask Bernie Sanders about that. He will change the subject. And this is why a lot of the Black community wants nothing to do with him. We don't trust him because he never speaks to us. He'll speak to Black people that are towing his line, but he's not talking about the issues. He does that with women too. They are not really trying to lift up. They'll say the talking points about, abortion rights and those kind of things, but they're one trick pony. And to me, if you hear of anything from Dan Muroff and Leanne Fan, run the other fucking way. Like, next time they prop up a candidate, be very suspicious. Make sure you yourself are vetting them. But look into fight agency. Look into what they're doing.
The idea that they believe that somehow misogyny and racism are going to be taken care of if they have socialism is crazy to me. And that's what it is. Like, they really have decided that their way is going to fix all of that, instead of actually recognizing that you have to dismantle white supremacy and misogyny, which are inextricably linked. You have to address that in addition to doing all of these other things. That they don't believe that, and that's the problem. And so this is like, they are, what you said about them changing the subject, that's why, because they don't have a solution that's current for that. They don't, it's not a part of their framework. And that's so irresponsible in 2026. I mean, that's irresponsible at all in politics, but 2026, like, come on. Like, and we saw this is why Bernie couldn't mount enough support in 2016, and he threw a fit. And I'm gonna say that he's part of the reason she lost. I'll always say that. I was there, I saw it. And so now here we have more of his recruits doing the same thing. Like, because like you use the word hubris, and I think
but
that's
here's
great.
the thing, they sound so much like MAGA or Trump when they say like they stole it from me, or like,
yeah, there's no accountability.
When Bernie lost, in the primary, it was like, oh, the elite stole the election. You mean I don't have a vote? Like, my vote doesn't count? I actually voted for Biden in the primary. Yeah, am I stupid? Am I just doing what I'm told to do? No, I research my candidates, who is better for my interests, and that's who I vote for. And so if you vote for someone other than these people, you're going with the Washington elites. It's ridiculous, and so many people are offended by that. I am one of them.
Well, meanwhile, what do you make of this? This is a little strange. And Chris, you know this because you and I were on a call together, and I said this. When Plattner dropped out, Collins Polymarket rated Collins' chances as plummeting when Plattner dropped out. Bizarre. And a couple of pollsters moved the race from a toss-up to a lean D. You would think conventional wisdom would be, we're looking at Kamala Harris 2.0, but not according to the betting markets and not according to some pollsters. Very odd.
I'd like to say to Chris Q, I'd like to say thank you for diving into this, because I knew I had a problem with the tattoo. And I thought to myself, well, you're holding your Democrats higher than they do theirs. But Chris, you've explained it so well that it happened to this state of Maine, and it happened to these people. And whatever we can do, I mean, I'm proud of the fact that 3 men on this page said, because that's not who we are.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like, so let me tell you all a little story. And Adam, I think you were on this call too. You mentioned a call. This was a different call. We were introduced, I'm not going to name the name, but we were introduced to Plattner on a Zoom call after he announced. And I too thought, okay, listen, let me also preface with this. I'm a Black man in California. I'm very well aware of the demographic in Maine. These are older, they're independent, older white women. This is who you have to court if you are going to win a Senate race in Maine. So I look at it from that point of view, right? So I thought, this guy, it sounds good, working dude, all that. As soon as I saw the news report about the Nazi tattoo, I messaged the organizer, the person that introduced us to him, and I said, can you believe this shit? And he didn't know about it either. And he was like, no fucking way. We cannot support this man. I wish the Democratic Party had done that. I wish the people in Maine had done that. There was time to find another candidate. There were progressives that could have, that's not a deal breaker for you, that there's a guy with a Nazi tattoo. And then there was, I put up here a timeline.
They tried to justify it, even worse.
That came out. What's that?
They tried to justify it or explain it away.
And people went with the excuses. He apologized. So there's the tattoo, and then so anyway, I'll put this. I've actually posted this. It's a side by side that I posted, but it's basically, it shows that what the issue was. This isn't very detailed because they're bullet points, but then it shows when the endorsement came. And if you look at this, you'll see that people should have known. They did know, but they were still like, this is the right guy for Maine. So he was basically designed for Maine, and he was playing the part. And the party, people in the party endorsed him. I don't know why you would put your name to someone that was already having controversies. I hope they don't live that down. And I think
there was a lot of peer pressure and social media bullying happening, because when we did say things, people would say, well, there were several things. Number one, if like you're not from Maine, then stay out of it, which I think is absurd when you're talking about a Senate seat, because that impacts all of us. And I'm never going to shut up about that. Also, because my degree is in this. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
But also, like, on top of all of that, it was like, oh, well, then you just, when you pointed out some of these things, like, I know, how about he didn't get it covered up years ago? He obviously didn't care. And that's a problem for me. It was like, well, you must want Susan Collins to win. Like, what, my only choice in a primary?
You must be a Republican plan.
Right. Like, oh, you're centrist. No, I'm just not a Nazi. What do you mean? Like,
I think we I think we can let folks do what they want to do, but I don't have to be silent if you're trying to nominate a bigot or
a rapist.
So
yeah, somebody said, "Oh, well, the people of Maine chose," and I'm like, "Well, then they chose wrong, because it's a rapist, and we don't do that." Like, I don't, you know what I mean?
I think we need to talk about the fact that these folks, this Daniel Moroff or whatever his name is, they sold us a fake product.
That's true.
They tried to bring him out as this, a working guy, pulled himself up by the bootstraps. It was all a lie.
Education.
He went to private schools. He did
70-something thousand a year.
His whole I'm an oyster farmer. You literally you sell to your mama. You sell to your mama. That's it.
Grandfather is a
you can't go to 70,000.
I'm not saying that's and I don't want to say that anybody who's only customer is their parents, because I'm not judging.
No,
but when you're
I'm
selling him to us,
tuition,
and it's a lie, that's not okay. And
so this is not, to me, this is not, I told you so. This is like, can we please learn from this? Can we do better? Can we make sure that we are vetting our candidates? And here's another thing. I get that you want, working class, maybe that speaks to you, but do you want anybody with even a lick of experience? Like, could you just
I want
be a city council person before you run for U.S. Senate?
Use the word professional going forward. And I said this on my post. I didn't get a chance to make a video, but what I said in my post was well, I did make a video eventually, but the point that you have when you vet people, when you push progressive grassroots movements in local and state elections, when you're looking at people at the municipal level, which is how movements are built. The reason why realignments take so long is because they are built at the local and state level, and then they build their way up to the top. Change is not top down, it's bottom up for this reason. But part of that is because when you do that, you are able to adequately vet people, because you have time to watch them in public service, and they're not there to increase their image, their notoriety, or their cause. They're there to serve the fucking people, which is their goddamn job. And that's the problem when you have somebody swinging in at the last minute being like, hey, I'm ready to be a senator, even though I've not done anything for the entirety of my career. Welcome in. That's a problem, because you don't know anything about their past, and you don't know how they've tried to serve people. And look, you can have not only a storied history of progressivism and left-leaning ideology in state and local election, and also know that they're not rapists. You get so many things out of this. And that, it just, to me, is this whole movement wants to skip that. And I recognize that there's not always one way to do things in political science too. I get that, and I'm so with you on that. But we have to be honest about why sustainability matters. Why it's a practice for people to perform in public service in one way or another, because there's sustainability in that, and it's also protecting us.
Let's watch this news clip that aired tonight. And I think I'm glad that the media is starting to ask the questions I've been asking. I will say this is CBS, but I think their point is correct.
The big question tonight is, why did so many in the Democratic Party, the party of Black Lives Matter and Believe Women, continue to see Graham Plattner as a future star, despite scandal after scandal that seem to undermine those principles and more? Despite his old Reddit comments about, among other things, why Plattner thinks black people don't tip, despite his chest tattoo with a Nazi history, and despite the accusations of abuse against women. Through all of that and more, Plattner downplayed or denied the claims and was defended by the party and some of its biggest voices.
I do believe people should have second chances. If this is a character election, the incumbent has a lot to answer for as well.
I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that Graham Plattner is the next senator from the state of Maine.
So what's behind?
And I just want to point out, we already knew about his Kick account, and Bernie Sanders and Ro Khanna doubled down on their endorsements and their support of him. And I've known for a while that there was a story coming out on Plattner, and they should have known too. And there's actually Susan Collins had quite a bit. She was like, the Republicans aren't that happy that this story broke when it did, that he is not going to be the nominee. Their plan was to wait. Well, I guess he might still be the nominee if he doesn't turn in his fucking paperwork. But they were also planning to drop a bunch of shit on him after it was too late for him to withdraw. So, you know, this happening now is for the best, in my opinion. But these folks, these are our leaders, and this is who they sign their name to.
And all that support for him until now. Could it simply be that he was winning, that he had blown out the sitting governor in the Democratic primary and sure seemed like the Democrats' best chance to beat Maine's Republican Senator Susan Collins? In political circles, the answer, it appears, was yes. Many Democrats knew Plattner had character issues. The theory from Daniel Moraff, the political strategist who plucked Plattner from obscurity and made him into a star, was that the voters wouldn't care, that they wanted, quote, real people who have lived real lives.
I mean, we want people who didn't run for student council, right? We want people who have not been spending their entire lives planning their ascent to political power.
But after Plattner was accused of rape this week, it turned out that theory had its limits. Character does matter. Plattner denied the accusation, but for some Democrats, he'd committed the one offense no political party can tolerate. He started to look like a loser.
These people are so bad at their fucking jobs. It
well,
irritates
first of all,
me.
that CBS report was so Republican coded. That
100%.
That was
but I
Fox
agree with the
News.
points they made.
That was 100% Fox News. But I felt in all the stories that I've read over the past few days, and I went all the way back to like October, I feel embarrassed that I even thought about giving him a chance. There was one in particular that was from a Philadelphia Inquirer reporter that had just moved to Time magazine. It was her first big interview, and it came out June 7th, so 2 days before their primary. And in the kind of introductory to the article, it was saying, we met out by a picnic table, and he had a breakfast sandwich on the table, and his lab went to grab it, and he reached over and wrestled the dog and pulled the sandwich out of its mouth and went, "Come on, stupid, you know that's not fucking good for you." And then she was like, and his hand was bleeding, but he never acknowledged it, and he kept talking. And I mean, my thing is dogs, and that immediately like set off the spidey senses of, this is a horrible person. I would never think.
I've never heard that.
Way.
When was that?
A Time magazine article from, I think it's June 7th.
Was it the same one that told the story about they also reported on his privileged background?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
New York Times and Times both did stories.
And so I'm sitting here, novice person in Pennsylvania, no skin in the game in terms of that. And I'm feeling guilty. Shouldn't Bernie Sanders and Ro Khanna and everybody else that endorsed him, like, if not them personally, what does that say about their staff? What does that say? What is,
it's like every other movement in history where they've convinced themselves that their movement is more important, and that there are certain things, like it's like when the white women wouldn't march with black women when they were looking for voting rights, right? It's the suffrage, like it's the same concept of like what we are doing matters and we'll get you on the other side, right? Like but it's still you putting yourself ahead of others in a way that's wrong. That's just not correct. So they're not going to ever have that. Not at this stage in the game. Bernie Sanders, maybe somebody like Chris Murphy, who's younger, that might actually step back and say, "Hey, I like screwed this up." Maybe, but not.
Well, he deleted all of his
entrenched.
Plattner posts, which I think is very problematic on itself. You did it. You just apologized. Like, say you fucked up, but like a politician deleting their social media, that's shady to me. And I really like
see
Chris
why
Murphy.
He would have done
I
that.
really want him to be our next leader. I wanted him to be our next leader. Now
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
but
know.
it also makes me think now I need to do a deep dive into Dan Osborne. Like, if they were responsible for him too. And I'm like, it makes you second guess everything.
This is the right thing.
This is
it just should. The vine is poisoned. Everything on it is a problem at this point.
Exactly.
Look, I mean, part of the issue with all of these candidates and doing as much vetting as you possibly can ever do is that you don't necessarily come up with everything. Swalwell is a perfect case in point. I mean, how long was Swalwell in public office? Swalwell ran for president, and he didn't do very well, but none of his problems came out.
An open secret.
Well, he used his position to continue to do that.
Yeah, that's a little different.
It's different, but it's a part of the same side of the coin where people would look the other way because they were like, but this is an aid of a larger goal or like a larger thing that we have going on, so we're just gonna like pretend like women aren't being abused, or like maybe it's not that bad, or like it's the whole like what was she wearing situation, right? Like it's like, oh well, like.
And also I will say this about Swalwell. Yes, he was vetted, but he wasn't vetted each time he was running. The additional vetting comes from when you're running for a new office. So was running for, he had been congressman for quite a while.
They
he was running for governor.
Incumbents.
So take someone like Kamala Harris, for example. She was DA, vetted for that. She was our attorney general, vetted for that. She was senator, U.S. Senator of California, vetted for that. And then VP, excruciatingly vetted. So this is somebody who's gone through a vetting process versus like, I'm not saying that can be the standard for U.S. Senate, but I'm just saying
I get it. That's
you can't
so
be
true,
plucking them out of just.
And that's what I was saying about rising from state and local politics is that as you move through, like you're 100% right. Every single time you move to a different race, you're going to be vetted differently. So that's such a good point.
And he was really barely vetted, this guy, clearly. Like, I think I could have done a better job vetting this guy.
They were so desperate for something different. And
obviously those guys don't care. They clearly in that video are like, well, he had.
They thought it was a big joke.
Posts, but no one is going to care because they just want a normal guy. Like, that's our standard. We can do better. We should be doing better than this.
They were literally giggling throughout that interview. I mean,
it was awful.
They thought it was a big joke.
And Donald Trump is here for that reason, because people wanted outsiders that are just like us, but they're not just like us. And that's the point, is that this is the same thing that they did with Donald Trump, where they tried to pretend like he was an every guy. This guy has like tons of money, like at some points, and then lost it, but then got it again because he grifts people. And that's what he does. So he's like he's had gold toilets. What do you mean? He's not like you. And he doesn't care about you. And Graham Plattner is the same way. They tried to sell him as like this farmer, like, right? Like oyster farmer. And like, man, he had tuition. Like, he had uniforms. Like, stop. He was not like you and me. Like, I don't know about you. Like, my parents were teachers. They weren't paying $70,000 for me to go to school at any point. Like, they're like, girl, you want to go to college? You better get that in-state tuition. And I did. So
this side by side, because we've been talking about Swalwell and Plattner, this is actually posted by Right Wing. But it's very true. And I do like the comparison because, first of all, in California, we were a little more fortunate because our situation was before our primary. So we were able to take steps, and it was not easy. Like, I will be honest. Swalwell was my guy. I liked him because he was a fighter, because I thought he could go head to head with Trump. I could see him as my next governor. I'm in California. But when when we found out he was a predator, a lot of us, Michelle's in California as well, we just went back to the drawing board. We did our research. We did not hang on to this guy.
I have to say, I was never Swalwell.
You were. I know you were. I know you were.
I was Becerra from day one, and I
always liked Becerra, but I was one of those people who was like, he can't, like, he's not going above 5%. He should be studied. Like, that whole thing should be studied. You want to talk about grassroots in the end? The fact that I
feel like Maine can do this, you guys.
What?
I feel like Maine
can do this. We're going to get to that, Michelle.
Yeah.
I am much more hopeful now. Like, let's work through this. I think we're much more hopeful now than I was last week. Okay? I mean, but I think it's a fair, but the comparison here is about their videos that they put out. And I think it's kind of interesting.
It's kind of scary, actually.
That you see and hear from me directly. I wanted to directly address the troubling, serious, and false allegations against me. These allegations of sexual assault are flat false. Any accusation of non-consensual behavior is categorically false. I'm going to spend time with my family and friends, and I appreciate those who have reached out to me to show support. We are taking the time to reflect on the best path forward for the state that I love, the people that I love.
When you guys realize how small the PR world really is, like, right? When you realize how small the crisis management teams are, you see stuff like this and you realize that that's exactly what's happening here. And I think it's hard because, like, people feel so pushed up against the wall right now. And I know there have been instances where people who have been in the party for a long time have maybe proven to be bullies or like pushed people out of positions or, tried to encourage people to drop out or whatever. I'm not saying that doesn't exist, but your biggest enemy here is Citizens United. Like, that's your big issue here. Like, money is your problem. Money is your enemy in all of these races and all of these things. If you want somebody to, like, that is a candidate that has these more progressive views, if you want to make this change, the reason people don't know who they are, it's a social media thing. It's a they haven't served before thing. It's not because the DNC is trying to prevent you from getting this guy elected. Like, I mean, I think at this point the Democrats are desperate. We've seen they'll take almost anybody. So like they're just
and I've heard contradicting stories on Graham Plattner, that there were folks who were in his community who were like, I would never vote for that guy.
Yeah.
So it's confusing to me in that I've seen folks from Maine who are like, not my guy. And then I've seen folks.
They have different opinions just like we do in our state.
They're so, I know, but they're
Black
so
girl from Maine,
drastically different.
Black girl from Maine is on Threads, and I encourage people to follow her because
she's been fantastic.
She's amazing.
She's been great from the beginning. I've been following her for a while. Black girl in Maine, and she's there on the ground, like reporting like what people are feeling, and I trust her. And she's I think has a good read on this. So if you want somebody to follow that's in Maine that you can trust, that's been there from the beginning, following all of this, like she's a good follow.
And the only
Quinn,
silver
I have
lining.
a question. Do you plan on going to Maine again anytime soon? Because I'm really curious to know if those yard signs, are still
yeah.
still there.
The only silver lining is it is Maine and it's not California. It's 1.5 million people, not 40 million. So
with small towns and small coalitions.
But it's 2 U.S. Senate seats.
You have
California.
But my point is, if your problem is name recognition, like you have fewer people to get to in this short amount of time.
That's a great point because they have so little time.
Yeah.
Here's some Mainers that are speaking on camera here, and the clip.
Troy Jackson, they put up Shanna Bellows. I'm voting for Susan Collins.
The reviews from voters here in Maine are mixed after progressive hopeful Graham Plattner suspended his Senate campaign amid allegations of sexual assault, allegations that he denies.
Could you have seen yourself voting for him if he had stayed in?
No. No, I probably would have tried to write somebody in.
Most of the voters I spoke with said they thought it was a good idea for Plattner to drop out of the race, and some of his former supporters said they remain hopeful that whoever the Democratic nominee ends up being will be able to defeat longtime Republican incumbent Senator Susan Collins.
Are you confident Democrats could actually defeat Susan this time, given all that's happened?
I think they can. I think people are looking for answers.
I think we've hit a bump, and now we can smooth things out.
Do you think if he had stayed in, Democrats would have had any chance of winning this seat?
I doubt it.
All right.
That's a Mainer.
A bucket hat.
That's a Mainer.
That's a Mainer.
Correct. But that's the correct
bucket hat.
assessment.
Like, you didn't even have to say a word with that bucket hat on.
Mm-hmm.
But
he's
one
right.
of the things that the black girl in Maine, is that what it?
Yeah, black
what her
girl in
handle
Maine.
was? Black girl in Maine, pointed out was that she has been there for 20 years. That moved for her husband that had roots there, and she's still from away, which is how Mainers talk about anybody that's not from Maine. We went on a lobster boat excursion, and the lobster man said this to us, that, you know, I'm a Mainer because my family goes back like, you know, a million generations, but Janie over here, who's the captain of the boat, she's not a Mainer because her family only goes back one generation.
Listen, if you've watched Murder, She Wrote, you know all about this. I'm not kidding. It's a whole thing.
This is, you know, so one of the things that really has to be overcome too, that people from outside of Maine are going to have to be very careful about, is they are very protective of people from outside meddling in what they're doing. So as much as we acknowledge that we have a stake in this because it's a senator, we also have to tread lightly and not come across as being prescriptive and knowing better and doing what is going to push people away and just go, screw it, I'll not vote, or I'll just stay with Susan Collins.
I mean, they do need to hurry it up, the fuck up a little bit. Like they do need. Oh wait, if you're
somebody's got to say it. We kind of did know better, but okay.
If you're on socials, like
think it, don't
the
say
comedian, this guy Trey Crowder did the best skit that really summarizes everything, because he plays a guy that wakes up from a coma. And finds out about what's going on with Plattner. And like, when I tell, like, it is perfect. Y'all should go watch that video, because I think I reposted it on Threads too, but it's on Instagram and Threads. And anyway, he's got accounts everywhere. I think he's like a comedian. So, but it's perfect the way it explains how it happens. And it kind of will leave you feeling like, how did we wait until the final days? But at least we're here. So now we're going to go through the people that we have as options. And I gotta be honest, I've been policing, or I've been, you know, like kind of trying to like get a feel for where everybody is on this. And not today. There's not except for people don't seem to like Bellows. That's what I know. So there's not like, I know I've seen some people talking about Troy, but like there's not one consensus is what I'm saying. Tomorrow may be different, but today there wasn't one person. So at this, what I'm saying is it's anybody's game.
They're going to have, it's up to, I mean, honestly, I think Maine, let's pause for a second on that one, because
they're just reporting from socials what I had seen.
Do you have a clip of the state party head of the woman who's?
Oh yeah, she's great.
I have a couple of clips, but I want to get your guys' opinion on this. Watch this interview with Troy Jackson, who is what. So what I put up here a minute ago were some of the people that are being talked about. If you want to see, it's on all my socials except for TikTok. But it has like 6 of them. But it's a very open process. I do feel like it is going to be transparent. Here's a clip with Troy Jackson. Watch this clip and tell me what you guys think of this after.
I gotta head out, folks.
You supported him. You bragged about being one of the first supporters of him. Why did you stick with him for so long? Why did you stick with him after the Nazi tattoo? Why did you stick with him after the New York Times article and the aggressive women stuff? Stick with him after the Reddit posts that were arguably racist and sexist? I know he denies the sexual misconduct allegations, but why did you stay with him for so long?
Well, the Nazi tattoo and the Reddit posts, I mean, I didn't know. I mean, I haven't even ever been on Reddit. But, when people talked about those things and he turned around and said, that these were times whenever they were dark for him and, he'd grown and all this stuff. I mean, they were, a different time period for him. And I understood, that people can change. But, I think the biggest thing about this was the issues that Graham was talking about and bringing people out on things like Medicare for all, and health insurance, prescription drugs, workers' rights. These are the things that, we've all believed in and wanted a huge change in. And certainly the people here in Maine do. Those earlier things, he had plausible reasons that he said that they happened. But when it came to a credible sexual assault, became clear that was it. It was, a red line that I wasn't going to cross. And the other thing about it was Graham told me point blank that there was nothing in his past that I had to worry about. And he lied to me, and he lied to a lot of us.
What did y'all think?
I mean,
of that?
he should have
He's a liar. What gave it away?
That should have been your first lead in, is that that, at least that.
But this
sounds
is
like
supposed
he's
to be
from
the
Maine.
most experienced politician of the bunch.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so
he should have been more prepared.
So he also did not do his due diligence.
Yes.
And
No,
again,
he
I cannot stress this enough. The Maine is like a big small town, like if he didn't know, if he didn't do his research, that speaks to his quality of being a candidate.
That's what I'm saying. This video makes me like, okay.
Are we handing
one.
out Senate seats in Maine? Like, what the hell? Like, this is like, do you know how hard it is to be a senator in this country? And this is what you're sending out. This is the best that we have
We only
to
have
beat
100 of
up
them.
Susan Collins. I mean, I get it. It's a smaller population, but my fucking God, people.
But
I
they
mean,
still
I
have
will
2
say
seats.
to his point and to his credit, he did quote tweet something today I saw and said that he would absolutely never fund any packages, no funding for genocide. So like he was very clear and concise on that, like and direct, which I was surprised to see so early on. So that he had very strong feelings about that. So now there's that. But other than that, I don't know much about him. But that was like somebody that's never been media trained before, and you're gonna be a senator? Like what?
Yeah, that's.
I don't want to get his name wrong, but can you forward through a couple? There's I think Nara Shah.
Here, I'll start
No,
over. Let's
not her. Oh, no,
it's rolling.
not him.
No.
I think it was 4.
I feel like I have this vibe. I can like pick up on people.
Okay, well I have
not
notes
feeling
here.
her. Jordan. Wait, there's
Jordan
one more.
Wood?
Where is it? Nope. Okay,
Yeah,
this
that
person.
one. Yeah.
That one.
Rob Shaw. So, have had a couple conversations with friends from Maine who are like, that's probably their guy.
Yeah.
So
I've heard a couple good things about that today.
Yeah,
He
as well.
ran for governor, so he is vetted.
That's great.
Let's
Look,
just
I'm saying
start
if you
there.
ran for
Thank you.
governor, like perfect. Like I know you've also been media trained, so at this point, so that's and actually, I like someone that's lost. because they've learned. Like, if you lost for an office and you're coming back, like, I'm hoping that means you learned some lessons from that and you're going to try to do some things differently. Hopefully. I haven't seen him speak, so I don't know. But
Yeah.
but at
As
least,
long as
you
he
know, the
doesn't talk
vetting.
like, yeah.
At least the vetting.
That Daniel guy, you guys, it literally, my teeth hurt when I have
Vocal
to.
fry. It's so bad. Well,
But
and
it's
like
like, it's
everything,
weird how he
the
speaks. It's
cadence,
the inflection in his voice.
it all pops up. Like, everything
Yeah.
like swings up. It's very annoying. Yeah. And to be proud of that too. Like, look, we all have things, but to
And they
be
think it's
like
a
so
freaking joke.
but
That's what's
that's the
crazy.
The
problem.
thing I hate most about the way his voice sounds is that when he speaks, it's lying. So
Yes.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
Like, it's not just that he sounds like a 3-year-old toddler, like having a tantrum at the grocery store.
It's the
But
lying.
it's the lying, and it just.
And I think it's just he's not. This is a strange thing to say, but he's not meeting the moment in the sense of like, your job is just to find someone that you think fits a narrative that you think is right for another state. That's totally terrifying. I'm just gonna say terrifying.
Yeah.
That these are people that are taking kind and that Graham Plattner got so far. But what my big point is tonight is like, he wasn't on an island. These things were not secret. These things were like available to all of us. I cannot tell you how many times I've been posting about this for months. And so many of my replies were like, well, you're not from Maine. No, I'm not. I'm not from Maine. I was never pretending to be from Maine. But we had an election here in California, and people were all in our business. And I was not saying you're not from California. Like,
I appreciated the help, honestly.
Yeah. Listen, when we decided, okay, Becerra is our guy, or whoever your guy is, so many people from so many states, Casey, people came in and were like, we're going to help. We're going to help push the message. That was so much appreciated. So Maine had a problem. I, as a Black man, did not appreciate this guy, and I was calling it out. So I have no apologies there, but I do have faith that Maine is going to get it right. I don't know if they can cross the finish line in time. I think this is superhuman.
I think they can.
But I think they're in good hands. I think that, in fact, let's just go there.
We can do it.
So our CTA, well, first of all, we'll backtrack. Chris, you wanted to, okay, so we have, her name is, what is her name? Her name is Devon Murphy Anderson. She is the executive director of the Maine Democrats. She's 31 years old. And I find her
you'd never know
just the past couple of days. So this is the video. So rumors, but they seem to be true, were coming out that Plattner wanted to say so in the transition, who was going to replace him, how it was done, what their message, like, why do you get to say so when you were the reason we're in this problem? So she, rightfully so, put out a video, basically clocking this.
I wanted to provide you all an update on the U.S. Senate race here in Maine. As you know, the Maine Democratic Party has been working around the clock to develop a process to replace our U.S. Senate nominee that is open, inclusive, transparent, and fair. The integrity of this process is just as important as the outcome, and we are committed to ensuring that Democrats across our state can have confidence in both. Unfortunately, Graham Plattner's team has repeatedly reached out to us in an attempt to put their thumb on the scale of what this process looks like. We have repeatedly reiterated to Graham Plattner's team that they have no role in determining our next Democratic nominee for the U.S. Senate, nor in determining what this process looks like. We have also reiterated that Graham Plattner must drop out of this race so that Democrats in Maine can focus on defeating Susan Collins this November. We look forward to making this process public as soon as Graham Plattner formally withdraws from this race.
Which he has not really done. He made a video and said, he suspended his campaign, but he has not filed the paperwork, and he says he's going to do it on Monday at the last possible minute is Monday. So this is not a good guy, you guys. Like, he doesn't, like, to me, to make that move, you do not care about Maine Democrats. You do not.
I want to point
you can be
something out.
confident and not entitled. Sorry, I just want to say you can be confident and not entitled, and this is the problem. The like you said earlier, the hubris from these people. It's not what's in the best interest of Maine or this country. It's about like their movement, and that is a problem. Michelle, go on.
One of the things I just wanted to kind of point out to people, as somebody who recognizes patterns. So the way she just spoke to us, okay? She literally just told us that they were reaching out to their camp, okay? And trying to put their thumb on what was going to happen. I saw today that Mr. Katz, or whatever the heck his name is, who is very much involved, deny it and say, we didn't do that. This is like the third story so far just in the last 3 days where people are saying things and they're like, no, we didn't. Yeah, you did. Who do we trust?
Yeah,
do we trust the guy and his team who literally fed us a bunch of bullshit?
He could not be
and
less of a
gave us
politician.
a
I'm gonna
literal
tell you guys something else that's very
He just made a
controversial.
speech. She just
So-
wrote a speech out and read it to us, and it is like not like she did not sound like a politician at all. This woman was just bringing us information.
She is going
and
to-
telling the
I'm
truth.
telling you
I
right
just,
now,
I want to
she is
finish
gonna
my
be a
point.
figure. Go ahead, Michelle.
Yeah, so I just want to finish my point really fast, okay? Is when it comes to trusting people in this process, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to trust this woman right here, okay?
100%.
I think she's got it gathered. I've heard the chatter. I watched his video. I feel like somebody literally had to tie my hands and tape my mouth through the whole thing because I wanted to punch the TV. The things he said were straight up bullshit, and like trying to say that, you know, the elites, or the what are they calling us now? Sorry.
The establishment? I don't know.
The establishment, thank you.
Yeah.
That, you know, the establishment's doing this to me. I find it really damn telling that this person, instead of saying, I'm going to do what's best for Maine and I'm going to step out because all of these stories, regardless if they're true or not, you know, however he wanted to say that, he could have said, I'm going to do what's in the best interests of Maine. But he did that in such a way. He didn't say anything about Republicans. He didn't say anything about the folks who have like stood 10 toes down for Maine. He has literally pushed this, and I'm probably going to take heat for this, but this whole DSA agenda, okay? There's not a whole lot of, I never heard policy. I never heard, like, he had great ideas, right?
They were
We have
ideas that
no
are already,
experience.
they're not new ideas. Like healthcare.
No, but that's what I'm
not
saying.
new. We
To
all
me, they
want
were
healthcare.
talking, they were Bernie Sanders talking points.
100%.
But one of the things that he was trying, and I'm just going to wrap it up really fast, is that he basically tried to make it sound like, or their team, whoever, tried to make it sound like, you know, that the establishment is now going to make the decisions. And that's kind of the story that they're trying to run with, right? I think it needs to be said that the folks who are probably going to be deciding are 500 to 600 people, 500 of which were folks who have been voted, who are, I'm drawing a total blank on what. Annalisa Swan is the person who comes to mind. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a total blank. The folks who were voted to vote for
electors.
Oh,
electors.
Electors. Thank you. So I'm struggling. So yeah, like I feel like there's 500 out of the 600.
They're going to have a nominating convention, a very small one.
They were just trying to make it sound like Maine voters aren't going to get a say.
No, they are.
Maine
And
voters
she's making
voted
sure it's
for these
transparent.
people,
Yeah.
right? Maine voters voted.
She just posted an update in the last hour. Did y'all see the video? I mean, you're not live with me, so I mean, I'm saying like, but I'm saying, did you see they posted a video?
No.
Because like they did. So
No.
I don't know what. Okay, that says.
Well, let's look up Plattner while you're looking at that to see if he actually filed some paperwork today. But as far as I know, he did not. I'm gonna make it while Casey's looking at that. I'm gonna make another point here. Let me see if I can remember what it was because I was just thinking about it. Oh. All right. So AIPAC tracker, track AIPAC, endorse Graham Plattner, okay? This is a single issue for a lot of voters, the fact that if you're against AIPAC, and I'm gonna tell you something, I'm gonna just give my opinion here. I'm not down with AIPAC either. I am
same, neither am I.
But that is not my only issue. Okay. If you're running for as my senator, my congressperson, I need to know that what are you doing in our area? But this is not, I'm sorry, AIPAC is not a deal breaker for me because I understand people need to raise money. As long as you're not trying to send arms to Israel, that's one thing. But that's okay. A lot of people, this is their thing. That red graphic and the green graphic, this is their thing. But I want to tell you, and anybody who's watching, stay tuned because this far left wing, the DSA, they are getting their funding from some people that you're not going to like. And that's going to come out. So I'm just saying, you think it's a purity test, you're going to have to figure this out because you're not going to be happy when you find out. Casey, got any news for us?
Yeah.
While you're doing that, what's that?
Okay. No. Yeah. So they've posted the process for candidates to declare intent. It's up there now. I was looking over the rules that they had and the deadlines that they had. And so they said candidates can start declaring, or not only declaring intent, but they can start collecting signatures. And they need to have their written declaration by Wednesday the 15th at 5 p.m. Eastern.
So, and state parties, this is important what you're saying, Casey, too, because every state party, they have rules. There's laws. So that's not like establishment. That is just being organized and everybody has to follow the same process. And so for you to make excuses like that, it's crazy. There's another video that I wanted to share with you guys, or Casey, did you want to say something else? Because this kind of explains it too.
It looks like they're going through this all looks pretty standard. But like, I like that she posted it. She's like, even though it's late at night, here you go. It's live. Like,
from what she says, they're working around the clock and
it looks
because
great.
they know it's crazy.
It looks professional. It looks well done. Their website is good. Like, everything looks okay. I was just looking at the rules. It all makes sense to me, like what you would expect to see. So I think good on them. Like, I think Maine is going to be fine.
I think they're in good hands. I think they're in better hands. Let's listen to Devon herself. This was last night that this was, I actually posted it this morning, I think.
Cycle here in Maine, we have seen absolutely unprecedented energy and enthusiasm around the ideals that we share together as Democrats. And so here's what I want to say to the Maine people tonight. Here's what I want to promise, that as we embark in this process together, we are going to be guided by those ideals that we share and that many of us voted for when we cast our ballot for Graham Plattner. And those ideals are that working people in this state shouldn't be struggling to put food on the table while billionaires are only getting richer. And that also those ideals include that our farmers and our fishermen and our loggers and our families deserve health care. And that women deserve to have their reproductive rights restored in this country. And that us Maine people are going to vote in the first election where Susan Collins is going to have to face us after she cast the decisive vote for Justice Brett Kavanaugh that overturned Roe v. Wade. Those are the ideals that are grounding us in this process. It is time for us to unify. And what I can say about the process is that we are going to come out of this stronger than ever. If you have ever met a Mainer in your life, you know that we are incredibly resilient, we are incredibly grounded, and we have a lot of integrity. And what we need from the rest of you all watching, the rest of the American people, and we are well aware that the eyes of our nation that we are hoping to serve well are on us. What we need from you is your support in this process. And what we need are donations, because we have got a US Senate nominee that is going to start in 2 weeks from scratch. And we have to have some groundwork laid for them and the resources for them to compete so that we can beat Susan Collins in November.
Does the Plattner campaign have money that it can use in this election to support the Democratic nominee?
The Plattner campaign most definitely has resources. Whether or not they will commit those resources to the next U.S. Senate nominee is not something that I have insight into. If you all would like to support us, you can go to maindems.org/Senate and make a contribution this evening or in the coming days to help us.
You made a reference there to we who voted for Graham Plattner. Did you vote for Plattner?
That's not something that I'm comfortable sharing. What I will say is that the energy here on the ground has been undeniable. We agree with Plattner's campaign on that. And what I want to say to Plattner's supporters is that this is why we asked Graham Plattner immediately upon seeing these allegations come to light. We asked him to withdraw. Not because we don't believe in those policies and those ideals, but because he was no longer the best steward to lead that movement.
So on that note, our CTA help Maine. And one way you can help is if you want to send them money. This is the website up here. I put that up there. It's very small, but if you go to the website,
you don't even need that anymore.
When
you go there now, there's a pop-up that's like the Senate process, and it literally has, hold on, I'll show you.
Okay, good.
It has two windows, like you can't avoid it. One is like, do you want to be a candidate? And the other one's like, do you want to donate? So you literally
this says it here too. This says it here too on these bars here, but you click donate if you want to send them money, or if you want to wait to who are your options, donate to those people. These people. So here's the thing. Even if you become the nominee, you have to run a campaign that has not even begun. And so this is not normal. And so they need all the support they can get.
That's the opening page is literally like, do you want to be a candidate or can you donate? Like the
all right,
things.
screw it. I'm moving to Maine.
I agree with Super Golden's plumber. She would be a great candidate. I'm telling y'all, keep an eye on Devon because she is going places. I mean,
is her name Devin or Devon?
Devin or Devon? It's Devon. Is that Devin or Devon? I don't know.
That can be. It can be either.
Because I thought Devin was.
I knew it. Devin. That's my friend Devin spelled it that way.
Well, we'll have to. When y'all find out, let me know. Okay, here's another important point that Lawrence O'Donnell asked her that I think goes to speak of who's in charge here.
Grassroots energy. And that momentum remains here on the ground, and we can harness it together. But it does require us coming together. And it also requires us to participate in a process that is inclusive and transparent, representative, and fair.
And what is the timetable for this?
So we need to submit our new nominee's name by 5 p.m. on July 27th to the Secretary of State. So in the next less than 2 weeks, we need to put together what we typically have a full professional team do in 6 to 8 months.
Are you taking any guidance or consultations with Chuck Schumer or the Democratic Senate Campaign Committee in Washington, D.C., what Graham Plattner tonight was referring to as the Democratic establishment?
Again, us Mainers are very attached to our independence. We are completely in charge of running our own process. That is not just our own preference. That is actually also what our state statute and our charter requires. The only entity, despite anything else that you might have heard up until this point, the only entity that is legally able to make these decisions about this process is the Maine Democratic Party, specifically our Maine Democratic Party chair in consultation with the county chairs of our 16 counties. That is the process we have put forth. There is nobody else who is able to participate in helping us put that plan together legally from outside of our state.
So the other thing I would like everybody to be sensitive about is that at some point, Schumer, the DSCC, is going to have to provide funding. And this is not a villainous thing to do. It does not mean he is controlling it, but they need money to run a successful campaign. And Schumer's going to have to give money. If y'all think does anybody think Plattner is going to turn over the campaign coffers to the new candidate? Hell no. We don't even know if he's really going to withdraw formally on Monday.
There's a lot. Yeah,
so
I know we don't like spreading rumors, but I heard he's broke. So.
Really?
Well, first of all, he has already been spending money. Okay, so here's the thing. This story what I had heard was that there was going to be two stories. NBC was going to do one. I don't know what happened there. NBC was going to do one, and then a national news publication was going to do the other, but it was about sexual assault on Plattner. This was supposed to be out a couple weeks ago, from what I heard, and the Plattner, his attorneys were fighting it and trying to stall it. This money was coming from his campaign. This was not personal money. It was campaign money that he was using to fight. So he may end up in court. I don't know, but he was using campaign money for his attorneys to push back on these charges, or these allegations, I should say. So, but I think with Devon, what should we call her?
Let's go with Devon. I like Devon.
Or the executive director of Maine Democrats. She seems like she knows what the hell she's doing. She is basically, she's going to be transparent. She's made that very clear. Casey just was sharing with us tonight's post. She has made it extremely clear. Like she's going to keep us. And she did say this is a 15-minute interview. I edited it down to 4 minutes and something for all the socials except Blue Sky. So I split it into two. She was very thorough here.
I'm happy with calling her Maine boss lady right now.
And I'm so impressed that she's 31 years old and she's killing it. So I don't know. I think she's a natural. So I hope to see more from her. But mainly y'all say what you think too, but I was basically, you might remember a couple of weeks ago, we did a whole ass segment on this show about a path that did not include Maine for the U.S. Senate. Mm-hmm. I'm not ready to say they've got this by any means, but I am much more hopeful now. I think depending on who they nominate, and how quickly they're going to have the spotlight. They are going to have that is one thing that money can't buy. With this rate, all eyes are on Maine even more now than before. So they're going to have a huge spotlight. I hope they're smart enough, gifted enough to take advantage of it. They can win. And I didn't feel like they could a couple of weeks ago. I just thought we have to figure this out without Maine. And maybe now we can.
Let's be honest. There's no way he would have.
He wouldn't have. I think it was overstated, the fact that
they were trying to make it sound like he was the martyr savior, this glorious thing. But I mean, I wasn't seeing that.
I was told that people on the ground, a lot of people were not for him, but they weren't going to say.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier.
Just to be clear, this is from a Mainer. This is not from just people on social. This is actually a conversation.
Yeah, same.
Who actually worked for Plattner and shared this information. So she's aware.
I really think they're going to find that it's kind of like what happened with Kamala Harris to some extent, because I'm still not here to say that didn't go correctly, because I think that there were other forces. But also,
we pause there for a second, because Casey and I have talked about this. If the four of us got together and said we're going to cheat, and we're going to, the path is through the swing states, don't you think we would have said, okay, well, let's do 5 instead of 7, because that'll seem
we would have
plausible.
We would have.
They got to go all the way. These people, it's let's do all 7.
All 7.
They're always doing extra.
7. I don't know how this happened, but I don't think I'll be convinced that's
no. But I think that she got a lot of support. There was a big bump, and at one point I was literally like, this may have been the strategy all along, because she didn't have to face this long, grueling process and get dragged for filth in the primaries. She got to skip all that, or the early era. And not only did she get to start later, but also she had the like people were happy, proud. They were like, thank you for coming and trying to save us. Like it was like they viewed her as a hero. Not everyone, but a lot of people did. And Becerra was the same way, right? Like it's like people were like looking for the opposite of Swalwell, and they said, here's our guy. And all of a sudden he had notoriety that he didn't before. And so that helped amplify him and his message. And I think this is going to be the same thing as the candidate comes forward from Maine. People are going to unify, like not just in Maine, but like around the country, and in a way that they weren't going to ever do with Plattner. So it's going to be this nice little boost because everybody doesn't like Susan Collins, and we can all unite behind that.
I just want to say one other thing, and this might be a little bit random, but Steyer, one of our gubernatorial candidates here in California,
who?
Fight
What?
Agency, Fight Agency. So this is the same people that are involved with Graham Plattner, Fight Agency, and they were the ones that were paying undisclosed payments to influencers. So this is bigger than people think, bigger than people realize.
I had a feeling, but
I mean, it makes sense. It totally makes sense, but I don't think I'd ever like knew that or had put that together or whatever. It does make sense. What connects? The money.
All right. So what else?
Get money out of politics.
Huh?
Well, money out of politics.
Let's move. Should we move on to week's best?
Yeah, because we did the CTA, so now we're on to week's best. Yeah, we did everything.
Talk about. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to. Who wants to go for? I have to load the shit. I haven't done it, so give me.
Wait, I do want to say one thing. Because we didn't put it on deck, and I forgot, and we were already slammed with so much. And we'll talk about it next week too, because I'm sure it'll come back up again. But after we went live last week, the comments of KK Carolyn came out, where she was being interviewed and saying how like Gen Z has a silver spoon, and they've all been like, basically none of y'all have worked at all. You've been spoiled. And like social media went wild with that, because obviously like this lady married a man that's older than her dad, who's a real estate developer or whatever. Like, girl, what? Anyway, the point I would like to make is I think it's a really interesting strategy, and I'm curious why the Republicans really think that they can like come for Gen Z months before a midterm election that they're already set to lose. I just feel like that's an interesting strategy, and I would like to point that out. So everybody keep your eyes peeled, because these people don't do things by accident, is what I'm saying. Like, this was intentional. All the points that she made, and I know Jesse Waters likes to like fan the flames and stuff, but I still think that was a choice. I didn't bring any pictures, but I did a video on it, and so did everybody else, because everybody was so mad at her.
Who wants to go first? Chris, you want to do yours first?
Sure.
You? Okay, let's go ahead.
So mine is The Pit, and the fact that they got 26 Emmy nominations. They won for Best Drama for their last season. And not just the fact that it's a great show and really entertaining, but the fact that if you haven't watched this, I would absolutely suggest it. Noah Wiley's mother was a nurse, and he has treated this extremely seriously. He has made this as political a show as it can possibly be, and yet still entertaining. They have touched on a ton of very topical things that we have talked about, and are on the correct side of them. They have talked about the Medicaid cuts, opioid crisis, hospital funding cuts, burnout, depression, mass shootings, ICE, and done so in a really brilliant way. And I just think that the fact that they're being recognized is wonderful. The fact that so many people love the show is wonderful. But I also think that he is helping move the needle politically through this show as well.
Cool.
And I love him.
Yeah,
It's
my favorite show.
It's too traumatizing. I
love it. I love it.
My nervous system can't do it, but I would like to say that I really like him. And so I was really rooting for this show. And I love that everybody else loves it. And I do keep it like I'm following like social media stuff of it. Like, so I try to keep like I'm really wanting it to do well. So I'm happy to see that. And was
who wants?
I love it.
Who wants next, Michelle or Casey?
I'll go next. Well, do you have the video?
I do. Give me a second.
I saw this earlier.
Is your video with sound or not sound?
It has sound.
Okay, so do you want me to put the video first, or you want to talk first?
Actually, you can do the video because it's self-explanatory, and I just want to say shout out to the judges, the justices that are keeping it real for all of us, because it matters. It matters.
We have laws, not men. We're hoping that this march will be a symbol for what this bus ride stands for, and that is standing up for the rule of law, the bedrock of our democracy. It's what's kept this country together for 250 years. We started this country in disagreement. We've always had disagreements, but what's kept us together is an agreement to follow the law. And we are a country of laws, not men. The founders of the country understood a thing or two about power and how it shouldn't be consolidated. That's why they created the 3 co-equal branches of government, and they knew that the rights that are instilled in the Constitution are merely words on a piece of paper unless you have an independent judiciary to stand up for it.
I might add that if our founding fathers came back, they would be in awe that their Constitution is still the Constitution of this land. They had their doubts, and rightfully so, because it was an experiment. It was new, and here we are 250 years later, using the same document, the same Declaration of Independence and the same Constitution. And I think about what Benjamin Franklin said in response to a woman saying, what kind of country or government is this? And he says, a republic, if you can keep it. And if Ben Franklin was here 250 years later, I think he'd be happy that, yes, we did keep it. But we have to protect it as well.
So yeah, I just wanted to shout out to Justice in Motion, because this last week they took a tour bus and went to, I think they had 5 or 6 different towns that they went to, and this movement that they're doing it's based off of a movement that happened. I think it was called 1,000 Robes in Poland, and it's basically their inspiration. So they're going to these towns. They're not selling out big huge stadiums. They're going to cafes and restaurants and meeting with people and reminding folks that the justice system matters, right? So shout out to them. Most of the folks I believe are retired. It's just, I don't know. One of the things and reasons I have struggled so much with politics over the last few years is because I had a great poli-sci teacher who taught me there are the 3 branches, and it's equal. And so watching this all happen, I have for the last couple of years, oh my God, literally hung on every word and every dissent and every decision they make. And so to watch what's happening to our country right now with, we all know it's hard. It's really hard for me. It is. I'm sorry. She's crying in the background. She's like, Mom, it's time. It's time, Mom. I need a snack. I've been so good. Yeah.
She's so sweet.
I'd like her on my lap, but she's about 80 pounds and highly problematic. Yeah. Come here. You want to come back and say hi? Nope. She's not playing. But yeah, there we go. Okay. Thank you.
That's so cute. You could do mine next if you want. That's fine.
Yeah. Okay. So let me.
Or if you want to end on mine, you can.
No,
whatever you.
I'm gonna do yours. One sec. Oh, you're in here, but I'm just trying to figure out.
Okay, so mine has multiple.
Can we do the video first? Or?
Yes, definitely do the video first. Like, so just as the preface with the video first.
Oh, this was so good. The people that did these were amazing.
Yeah. You gotta get arrested. You'll get arrested. It's Jello. Oh, come over here.
That's a felony right there.
That's right.
I wish we could get closer.
So I like that part. That part was funny, right? Like, it was funny to watch her like saluting. That was so cute. But then I went to the comment section and I was like, wait, there's like a gazillion comments of people that made their own reflecting pond themed July 4th. So I just made a quick video of them all. And I
never would have thought of that in a million years.
Because everyone had all these cocktails.
People are so creative.
Awesome. that was their patriotic theme was the reflecting pool punch or martinis or like whatever. And I was like, see, look, we can be united. Like, because everybody thought, like, this is how we're going to celebrate, and they did it together.
I thought it was brilliant. The blue fruit roll up as the liner that's coming up.
Very smart.
It's so funny, and so Jello
we
shots,
need more of those
cupcakes. The thing of punch, like, it was so.
I mean, the
great.
little army men.
They're professional. Like, people did really good jobs. Like, and I don't know. I felt for like a moment, I was like, we are all one.
These are my people.
Yeah, we are all one. So that was I felt good about it moment.
I'm curious, what's the core in most of these drinks? Are we going vodka?
It's curacao.
There's blue curacao there, certainly. Probably probably Madeira.
Yeah.
Vodka.
Yeah.
I'd go vodka.
I think so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know, maybe with the new
that
orange
one's nice.
one,
Well,
like,
that
we'll
one's
do some
almost too
whiskey.
nice.
Yeah,
Love
there's
it.
some really good ones in there. Anyway, so
I don't think I would drink these, but
some of them I might.
Probably taste really good.
Really
Yeah.
All right. I have two in the dock, and I'm trying to think here. Okay, I'm gonna go. So mine is a theme that I'm noticing lately that I really am responding to. So Trump is really, you notice how he's really obsessed with Obama. That has been the case all the time. The media is really playing this up on their own. They this is why did they do a poll of who's more favorable, Barack Obama or Donald Trump, instead of like the favorability of all the presidents? So I keep seeing this come up, and I'm loving it. And people on social are loving it. So that is my week's best, because it's I know it's getting under this man's skin, and you may never see it on Fox News, but the rest of us are seeing it. So can I do one more?
Yeah.
Totally different theme. So I saw this and I thought, So there's this woman with late stage Alzheimer's who hadn't spoken in 5 years. She received a dose of basically magic mushrooms, just to make it simple. And she's started making jokes, and in just 19 hours. Is this a cure for Alzheimer's? No, it's not a clinical study. But my point here is maybe it is a cure. We don't know, but it's still an illegal substance. And there's a lot of hidden or unknown benefits to mushrooms. Other countries, it's legal in other countries. And so I hope one day, and I know California is seriously looking into legalizing mushrooms. I hope they do. I hope, in medicinal form and recreational, but it could give us some new, cures and benefits that we may not know.
Yeah, you're never gonna make me understand why they don't why people don't want to support this. Like, if you regulate it and tax it, what do you mean? Like, that's revenue. Like, what do y'all like that they're
I
acting
mean,
like
look
they
at
don't want
marijuana.
right. And so I never understood. This is
Yeah.
so funny because like Nick and I had this my husband and I had this conversation like years ago, way back, probably like 10 or 15 years ago, before they had really started making it recreational like usage. I think maybe Washington, I don't know, like it was like nowhere at that point. And he was like, well, I don't think it's going to happen in our lifetime. And I'm like, I think it's going to happen in the next 10 years. And he like was shocked by that. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, first of all, it can be taxed and you can make a profit off of it. So there's that. But then also the boomers are reaching ages of ailments and are going to be seeking these alternative treatments. And that's going to push the door for this. And sure enough, like whenever it started happening, he's like, you were so right. And I was like, first of all, I'm right about everything. Thank you. But also anything in this, like, it's capitalism, right? Like, the thing about capitalism is it's our worst enemy, but it also comes to save us, because the one thing that's predictable, the one thing that we can rely on is that like money is going to rule the world. And so anything that can turn, like, this is going to be profitable. So it's going to be legalized at some point, right? Like, if they're going to find a way, but it's also like our worst enemy. So that this is the same reason why I keep saying that maybe Trump will be stopped at some point, because these businesses are like, you know what, this is too far. This is hurting our, like Taco Bell that just had to pull. We didn't talk about this. Is like the one more thing. So this is like a good segue. Taco Bell had to pull their lettuce from some of their restaurants because it's created this like a super parasite that has
Wait. So this is Taco Bell? Like, I wasn't.
No.
They,
It's not.
because I was wondering what
just,
New Yorkers were eating, because they were the one.
I was
like,
going
what
to
are y'all?
say, is this related to that whole
This
parasite?
explosive diarrhea thing?
Yeah.
Taco
So
Bell?
it's not just them. It's every place. So what I'm saying is they made the decision to preemptively pull like lettuce and the other produce because it can't. There's stuff that can't be cooked. They pulled in certain locations that were. This is an old one, so skip over that. Sorry, my bad. The the actual origins they're not super sure about, because the CDC isn't doing anything,
It's not functional.
and they've been shut down since, or they haven't reposted about it, I think since the 16th of June or something. It's like a long time ago. So basically go to your state websites, your state Department of Health, to get information on outbreaks in your state. But essentially, like, it's like the norovirus on steroids, because this is something that's going to stay with you for like weeks, not days. And oftentimes they may give you antibiotics because it's like that tough on your system. You'll need a stool. They can do it through a stool test. They can tell. But where these outbreaks are, like in Michigan and New York.
It sounds like you would know.
Oh, you would know, because
yeah,
it's a lot. It's a lot of diarrhea, nausea, and discomfort, and it goes on for weeks. So this is, but basically, lettuce, raspberries,
it sounds
basil,
like you should be careful of raw vegetables.
raw veggies, anything in
everything.
a bag, like bagged produce. If you can't heat it up, you probably can't clean it, is what they're saying, because it's apparently chlorine and bleach resistant. So that, they've said they've seen it.
I've never been so happy to know that I grow all my berries. I grow all of that. And I'm gonna give a little bit of energy to Trump for that, because I was like, I can't afford shit under him. So I started planting and growing vegetables and fruits, and
we are going to start a hydroponic garden and this wasn't the reason.
It's actually
I have one in my kitchen that we have not even. It's been sitting here for. I think I bought it for Mother's Day or Christmas and not touched. It's a symbol.
Well, get on that.
It's been really therapeutic for me, you guys. I highly recommend starting gardening. I highly recommend it.
The problem is that because we don't have real good data on this, they're not really sure where to trace this, but the people are coming to the internet.
I know New York is a hot spot.
So it's like the sleuths of the internet have come and they're coming together. And so what they're saying is like, there's like this bagged lettuce from Walmart. The person was like, I am sure, because I had this and my kid did not, and I got sick. Like, right. So people are coming with their like this is how I got sick, and sharing it on the internet. And so now literally Threads knows more than the CDC, which is like concerning.
Such a thing. Like there's no database.
Well, yeah.
Right.
They got rid of the department that tracks all of it.
Right.
So.
Right. So if I were you, I don't know, like I said, I don't know where, like, I know it's like, it pops up in the summertime, and oh, by the way, this is political, not just because of the CDC, but because of what they're saying is that it's either being sprayed by water that has fecal matter in it, or
Most likely.
it's because of the migrant workers don't have the proper facilities, they don't have proper restrooms to use and sanitizing stations, and so they are transmitting it when they're picking it. This one of those two things, and in either case, like it's bad news for the companies because they're the ones that didn't pay, like, right, they're not doing what they should be doing because there's no oversight, because everything has been cut and whatever. So it's political on that front as well. Like you're gonna pay the price, but because we can't really track everything in terms of its origins, the best thing you can do is cook everything. They are saying that sometimes if you do a vinegar solution and you wash vigorously, like maybe, but like raspberries, for instance, it gets stuck
Vinegar
in
and
the little.
baking soda.
But they're saying that won't kill it. So I don't know. This is
What
from
if
the
I
Yale
just eat
Department
ice
of
cream?
Health.
If it's bleach resistant,
Right. That's what I
baking
said.
soda
I'm
ain't
like,
gonna do
well,
shit.
right. So, but that's good. That's good practice anyway for when you're handling stuff. But like with lettuce, this says take out the outer layers, and stuff, like basically brush clean, whatever, heat up. I don't know. There's just certain things I'm going to be avoiding.
If it's contaminated water, there's
yeah. Until we know where
taking
it's
out the
coming
outer
from,
leaves isn't going to make a difference. Yeah.
Right. Until we
Stay
know
away
more.
from the reflecting pool.
Yes, right. That's what it was like. That's where
and
they
that
source
other
that
thing
water
that has
from.
the brown water.
I don't know,
Yeah,
but this is just like I can't be having this kind of stuff too on top of everything else.
Because
This
that's
is too
like
much.
your life ceases to function. Like if you have explosive
Oh,
diarrhea,
yeah.
like where are you going?
And for
other than the
weeks
hospital.
though.
Yeah,
So the people
like,
that I was
you can't
watching
work.
online were saying they had to have, they said it was like it finally stopped on day 3 or 4 of Flagyl. Flagyl is a really heavy duty antibiotic. Like I can't take it. It bothers me so much. Like I don't know what I would do. I'd be fucked. But I'm just like, we're not talking about lightweight like doxycycline stuff even. So this is
Imodium,
intense.
it doesn't do the trick.
Oh no.
I guess not. And that's the problem is
Lord.
like, and then also if you're hydrating, remember electrolytes, not just water. You got to have electrolytes. So just be getting Gatorade or whatever. Like water ain't gonna do it. Like, sorry. We meant to flip this.
But I did hear it was not in California. I did hear that.
So also they are saying that it's really important to get, if you think you have that, to go get treatment, because they're actually saying medications are really important to knock it out, because if you don't, you might think in a couple weeks you're feeling better.
And then it comes back.
A month later it comes back.
Yeah.
I mean, the good news is
people were joking on the internet, like, well, I need to lose 10 pounds. And I don't think they realize how bad, like how serious this is.
That's no way to lose.
And if you're going to lose 10 pounds
No.
from diarrhea, you're pretty much
it's bad.
like hanging on to life at that point.
Yeah. And also this is like, you're not going to, I guess you can't transmit it from person to person, but obviously if your fecal matter gets in the food, you can.
Right.
So,
if you're talking about,
I mean,
like
that's, so we don't want people running around.
Well, let's perspective. I'm going to put this into perspective for folks who don't get it. If you've ever had a colonoscopy, that's just one day. Okay. Now do that colonoscopy
for
prep
weeks.
For weeks. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. Sorry.
Well, y'all, it's God, it's almost 3 hours we've been on.
I know.
All right, so anyway, thanks everyone. We're wrapping. We'll see you next Thursday. Have a great
thanks
Friday.
for a great night, guys.
It's Friday somewhere on the East Coast, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's Friday.
It's been Friday for an hour. Yeah.
Happy Friday, y'all. All right.
Bye.